I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show!
Good morning. Happy Football Friday across the Delaware Valley. This is the Anthony Gargano Show. We're presented by Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. Go to riteaid.com for the pharmacy and the store nearest you. Well, it is a Football Friday, and it is Eagles and Steelers. Are you kidding me? Eagles and Steelers. I know it's kind of been a weird, tumultuous week, right, with all the drama and all that stuff. I think now it's time to focus on some football. This is a team that's won 9 in a row. This is a team poised to make a deep run in come January and February. I think now you got cross-state rivals, the historic football, frenzied Steelers. I love it. It's Eagles and Steelers on Sunday. And it's funny, somebody said earlier this week on our chat, one of our great listeners and viewers said, we need to do that every year. I agree. I love it. I love Eagles, Steelers. I'm really excited. Obviously, the Steelers haven't won here since 1965, all right? I feel good about the game. Again, when you think about it, and I don't think George Pickens is going to play, so without Pickens, it's going to be fun, man. I just look at it. This is a good team. It's a good test. Obviously, the Steelers have a great front, and their defense is very good, so it's a good test for the Eagles' offense. I think it's great. I think it's fun. This is going to be the last great regular season matchup of the year. I mean, you got Dallas, you got Washington, and that'll be good. And then you got Dallas and the Giants to end it. So here we go, man. This is it. This portends to the playoffs, what we see on Sunday. And I do. I feel good. I think that this is going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be great. It's 4:25, nightfall across the Delaware Valley. It'll be great, man. It's going to be one of those things where we're really going to enjoy it. I get the sense of it. We'll get into the whole thing. Last night, you saw the Rams. I got one eye on the Rams because we know that the chief rivals are all about the NFC North, right? The Lions, who have Buffalo on Sunday. So that's kind of the similar test that the Lions face with the Bills, the Eagles face with the Steelers. You got Minnesota, you got Green Bay. And I think that's the Eagles' chief competition. The chief competition resides in the North. Then you got, I look out down south, and I don't really fear Tampa. And out west, I know Seattle, and there's going to be a good one Sunday night with the Seahawks. But the Rams team, they played San Francisco pretty well last night. It rained early. It was a low-scoring game. They were able to run the ball and shorten the ball. I know the Eagles won pretty much sweat-free a few weeks ago, but still, I got one eye on them as it all crystallizes. This is it's the holidays. This is a fun time of the year for the league because now you find out what's real. And I do. I think when you strip away all the nonsense, and even myself, we talk about passing game, we talk about Jalen, the whole thing. You strip all that away. This is a really good football team. This is a team I do not expect any sort of collapse. God forbid they lose. I don't think it's the end of the world. I think this is a very good team. It's coached well. It's got a top 3-4 defense in all of football. I think they're good. I think I'm looking forward to a really good litmus test coming on Sunday. Good morning, VG. Violations, Greg.
What's up, Anthony?
I feel good. It's like Football Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Steelers.
It's like now, we had the soap opera all week. It's an action movie now.
Yeah,
Let's go. Let's get it going.
Yeah.
All you pop drinking, tennis shoe wearing, Kennywood going, Primanti brother eating guys. You're usually my friends. I like those Pittsburgh guys, but get out of here. We are enemies. Take Mr. Rogers, take his sweater, throw it over his head, and throw him in the closet this weekend. It's Eagles Steelers. Let's go.
I love it. Primanti brothers eating. I'll never forget the first time I was in Pittsburgh. I was covering a Pirates baseball game, and I was going to Pittsburgh for the weekend, and all they talked about was Primanti brothers.
Yeah, the hype. The hype is real.
So I was like, I gotta go. I gotta check it out, right? So I get this sandwich, and it's just slop. First of all,
well, here we go.
What
kind of bread is it?
White bread.
Yeah.
There's no good sandwich, all right, that has white bread.
Maybe you could go peanut butter and jelly.
Nah, it's a fugazi sandwich. That's not a real sandwich. That's not a sandwich you get excited for. And then they throw all the stuff in there. All kinds of sauces. When you oversauce
French
something.
fries.
Right, fries are in there. When you oversauce something, you mask the contents.
Well, they're not.
It's the truth. I know you're laughing, Frazier, but you mask the contents when you oversauce it. You throw, I guess they have a special sauce and mayo and chipotle this or whatever the hell they put on it. It's nonsense. You got to let the innards speak. The quality of the innards got to breathe.
I fully agree with you. It is a trash sandwich.
It is trash. It's trash, man.
But the thing is, they don't have a refined palate. They're just slop it all in as much as big as we can get. That's a Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it is.
They don't want to taste the innards. They just want to be stuffed afterwards and have it taste somewhat okay when it goes down.
Iron and bridges, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's great. Listen, it's a great, it's a great town, right?
It's like mini Chicago, kind of like that Kabasa
it's
vibe.
Really the gateway to the Midwest.
Yeah.
It has a huge Midwest vibe to it.
Yeah.
We're East Coast savvy, right?
Yeah.
Once you go all the way across the state, it's basically the Midwest.
Well, yeah, when you do drive across the state, though, I mean, it is a relief to get to Pittsburgh. you make a couple of rest stops in Bedford and Breezewood. You go, thank God Pittsburgh's here.
Yeah,
doesn't it hold a record?
Thing.
Doesn't it hold a record for the most bars and tattoo parlors on the same street?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
I think so. It has a world record for that. Yeah,
I love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I like the shady side, the Strip District, Jerry's Records, but not this weekend.
There's a great old movie. It's one of the great movies of all time, The Deer Hunter.
Yeah.
Right? Which is an amazing, amazing film. And the movie starts, it's all about the Vietnam vets. And it's
a tough, heavy movie.
It's it's an incredibly well done film.
Russian roulette.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God. It's an amazing film. But it starts in Pittsburgh, right? And if you go, they're in this neighborhood bar before they get shipped off to Vietnam. And they're in this neighborhood bar, and the Steelers are playing. And it's like how they celebrate football. It's really interesting because it's just a tiny little speck of the film of this great movie. But it gives you a show of life, a slice of life about what Pittsburgh is about. And we're interesting because we are similar in how we celebrate football. Like football is number one. We love all of our sports, as we chronicle all the time here. But football, there's a special relationship. It's different, right? The Western PA is a little bit different than how we celebrate it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but you're totally right. I mean, the intensity is kind of the same, but it is a different vibe.
It's a different vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see it.
I feel like we're a little rowdier.
Yeah.
A little more edge. Yeah.
I could see that. They have stability, like the Steelers franchise, stability when it comes to the coaching, right? So you go from Chuck Noll to Bill Cowher.
Chin to win.
Right?
Yeah.
To, forgive me because I look like half the Elephant Man because my tooth is swollen. So
Oh, you can't even notice.
Yeah, right. I look like Don Corleone, right? Or a squirrel, chipmunk. It's funny because they go from those Cowher to Tomlin, and they're always the same. They always have a team that's built on running and defense.
Very consistent.
Right? Like, that's who they are. That's kind of the difference. Like, the Eagles can be very explosive. Like, we've had explosive offenses. Mm-hmm. We've had explosive defenses, right? Like, it's about, 4-3 versus 3-4. They don't do that as much now because of nickel and dime. But back in the day, the Steelers were known for the 3-4 linebackers, right?
Safeties, Palomalo or Woodson.
Yeah.
Always heavy hitters.
And they always, they stop the run. Mm-hmm. Right? They don't do a lot of, they're not sacking a lot, but they stop the run. Where the Eagles were always defensively, were always front laden, and they would, attack the quarterback.
Yeah. We're a little more finesse here. They are a meat and potato city. That's what they are. Yes. That's what they want their football team to be.
I think we're more explosive on both sides of the ball.
For sure.
Where they are, you're right, meat and potatoes. Run the ball, play defense.
Which is really weird because on the hockey side, they got Sid the Kid, and he's not a meat and potato kid. I mean, he's chippy with a little edge, but they're not a real physical team.
Well, now we are. Now we got the beach cough. Yeah. Dude, they win again. The Flyers win again last night.
A 4-goaler.
Listen, Detroit isn't bad. Like, I know you go, oh, Detroit, right? They're not bad. The fact is, the Flyers come out and they played another great game last night. They put pressure on teams. Again, they were out shooting Detroit early by a big margin. And then you just look at Michkov, and I don't know. I watched that game last night.
I love that kid.
And you can't take your eyes off him.
No, every time he's on the ice.
The answer to sit the kid is Matvei Michkov.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't take your eyes off him. Mm-mm. He just turned 20 years old. It was happy birthday, Matvei. And you watch him play, and he's electric.
Sounds like you're coming around with me where we might be eyeing up some playoffs, and he's benching people late in these games is going to become critical here.
They're playing
Don't you want to see them in the playoffs?
I do.
You want to see Michkov in the playoffs. Let's get the playoff experience first year here.
Yeah,
let's get going.
I hear you. I don't want to rush through the build.
No.
Because, part of me says one more year in the lottery, one more year with a really good pick,
Sure. But
I wouldn't mind one more player.
But it's not going to be a high lottery pick.
No.
And get the kid his playoff experience first year here. Welcome to the NHL. Let's go.
I feel you.
Dude, they dominated the faceoffs last night, like 64, 63%. And you say that the shots, they block so many shots every night.
Well, and this is where you got to give some credit. Like, I know you're just taking shots at the tort.
No, I give him.
He has them playing hard every night. Like, they don't cheat you out of effort. No. Like, that's the coach that's getting that kind of effort out of him.
I give him that. Yeah, he gets the effort. He's just not man for the long term. That's all.
I don't know. Well, we'll see. I mean, I know he's only going to be here another year or two, and then he'll get bumped upstairs, but whatever.
Yeah, we'll see him next week when he loses a game because he wants to send a message to a 27-year-old captain.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, they're exciting. All right, back to the Birds, right? Because it's all about Eagles and Steelers. So you got a couple of things. I want to get to them now. All right, which is the you're seeing it's going to be an AJ game.
Well, not just me. I was Get Up this morning. I was running late, and Get Up had I don't know who their betting guy is. He's no brain. It's Joe something.
Right.
But his top bet, AJ Brown over 79.5 yards this weekend versus the Steelers. It's a national headline. Even they just turned the Eagles thing into a national headline all week.
I know.
That's his best bet.
I know. And I guess that's going to work out. We're going to talk to Fran Duffy coming up in a little bit, and Franny has his whole game plan for Sunday mapped out. I'm curious how Franny kind of looks at this thing.
Oh yeah.
With it,
his psycho chart.
At this point, I still am hey, Saquon, I'm never getting too far away from Saquon.
No, I mean, but that's the thing. You still keep the same exact Saquon distribution of plays. the passing plays just have to be executed better. The reason to be better on the passing plays they call, and it's got to be if Jalen's open, you got to get him the ball.
It was funny. That was.
I mean, you saw Debo last night getting action heavy.
I know.
Can't catch the ball. That dude.
They lost, but
by the way,
he keeps dropping everything.
That drop.
Oh,
What it was the game.
that was the game.
Yeah.
That was the game. Early on, he's got a first down. It would have been first down inside the probably inside the 5-yard line. He drops it. He took his eye off the ball. He dropped it, and it cost them a touchdown. Because I think they probably go in. Instead, they got to settle for a field goal, and their offense kind of was stunted for a lot of that game.
It's funny what happens when he's not playing running back. Can't catch the ball.
I mean, he's a great player, but all week long, you remember, they asked Purdy about Debo not getting the ball. Debo saying, I'm fine. I'm just not getting it.
Well, the first, he said something about when he did his tweet, the first commenter was like, you lead the league in drops or something. Someone checked him right away.
Yeah. and again, it was he dropped another one last night.
Yeah.
I keep looking around, and I keep going back to the same thing. When you look at the landscape of the NFC, and Lions are going to have a big test with Buffalo.
Yeah.
I'm curious how they look. Like, I know the one seed's going to be tough.
I still think
the Lions have to lose twice.
Right. Yeah. Does it change if they lose to the Vikings? I know the conference. I don't know the conference records and stuff, but I know the Bills' loss won't help us.
Tiebreaker. The reason why the Packer game was such a big deal was that it was a tiebreaker within the conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it would have been a loss, and then if the Eagles and Lions have the same conference record, it goes down to common opponents.
Okay.
And it would be common opponents' winning percentage. So they would have been, they won the game, but they would have been 1-1, and the Eagles were 1-0. So that's why the Eagles would have gotten the nod.
Yeah.
But now they have to lose twice.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of for the Eagles to get the 1 seed.
Yeah.
But so we'll get a pick. Here's the other thing. Who knows? Dan Campbell's a wild card, right?
Very much.
Who knows that they're even in the NFC Championship game? When they're even if they get the 1 seed, they get the bye. That first round, I don't know. You're gonna have to play somebody. Maybe it's Green Bay again.
I mean, they almost lost to the Buccaneers in the playoffs last year. Let's not forget that.
And
it's possible for them to Lion,
right? Like, and him. Fourth down, he may go. He'll go for it, and he'll put the game in peril.
If you get in Goff's face on the regular, he's going to struggle, and that's when they're vulnerable, I think.
Well, listen, they're good.
Yeah.
I mean, we say it, right? I completely acknowledge they're probably the best team in the conference, but I do believe in the Eagles right there. I don't think that the passing game, and that was the talk of the week, makes them vulnerable in the playoffs. I mean, I heard somebody talking about it on ESPN yesterday. They were talking about, again, you're right, it's been a national story. It was like, well, the Eagles passing game will ultimately derail them. I don't know. I mean, why?
I don't know, but I have trepidation in poo-pooing what they're saying because I did that last year,
right?
And they were right. So
listen, you don't need to, like, you have your own eyes, and you could tell, like, obviously. Do you want it to be more crisp or a bigger place? Yeah, of course. But I don't think you can speak in absolutes. And that's what I heard yesterday from one of the ESPN analysts. The Eagles will not get to the Super Bowl because of their passing game. I don't know why that's an absolute. I don't know if I believe that. And an Eagles sweatshirt, out the door. I'm just being honest.
I like
Football
the
Friday.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a great sweatshirt
today.
I like it.
I'm in the mood today, man.
Can I get you to move before because we get jam-packed today before we get rolling? Can I play a little Nick Foles talking about the Eagles fans and what it's like playing here? It's really cool stuff.
All right, let's hear it.
Tougher.
Exactly.
It made you tougher as a player, and then it held you accountable because you weren't going to go in a fan base that was just always going to be lovey-dovey, which everyone thinks they'd love that. It makes you go back to work and realize every time you step in front of these people at the link, all these fans that bleed green, you better bring it. And if you're not giving everything or you're not executing, you're going to hear about it. But when you're going great, man, that place, the NFC Championship game, you brought it up, that energy in that stadium before the game, there's a rhythm before the game, like we're about to go to 7-on-7 and throw. I couldn't even go to 7-on-7 because the stadium was so vibrant, so loud. Our players were dancing. There was so much energy that I just waited 2 minutes and just took it all in. And that's really, talking to Vikings players that were in that game, they think the fans were what really like. I mean, obviously we executed, but they're like, if we played this in Minnesota, we win this game. And fans have a huge home field advantage in Philadelphia.
I got goosebumps right now just hearing that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That was on Barstool?
Yeah, one of the Barstool shows.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I got to tell you, I remember that game, and I remember how it started, and they go down.
Yep.
And he's right. Like that fan base.
I was there with Jamie. That's our picture.
Yeah.
And we were doing the skull. Skull.
Folds.
Ooh, man.
Folds.
Yeah.
Folds.
Crisp, cold night. The fans are going wild.
Yeah.
A dome would screw that up.
But you know,
Dude, you know how loud that would be in the dome? We would be so loud.
No, we don't need it. We don't need a dome.
It would be so loud in the
He's
dome.
back to the dome,
So
Frazier.
loud in the
no
dome.
with the dome.
No dome.
No dome. Just say no to the dome. But listen to how he said too. They hold you accountable.
That's it.
Like, so any kind of criticism, like this week, Jalen got his share, right? Like, what's the big deal? Like, everybody knows that he balls out on Sunday and everybody's there.
Yeah.
Jalen, right? Like, that'll happen. That's a great piece. That does get you pumped up, man.
Yeah, man.
I love it.
It's a 425. Weather's supposed to be moderate.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
pretty nice
Everyone's.
on
I'm
Sunday.
going to go down for a few hours pregame. It should be rocking down there.
Can we also hit the rewind button for like 2 seconds? Because we go back 2 years ago when we played the Steelers the last time at the link. Didn't AJ Brown carve them up?
we
Yes,
played that
coverage.
earlier,
Jalen was throwing that deep ball.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yep.
That could happen again.
I agree. We got you covered. Big day today. So Fran Duffy is going to join us coming up with the game plan. We'll talk to Fran. We got the brain to set you up for the weekend. Mike Garafolo, NFL Network, will join us. Kevin Negandhi. We had to move him from Wednesday to today, so we're excited for Kevin. And then, of course, all of our fun stuff. I know Danny D from the prep stopping by to celebrate the championship. We got TV Todd, a whole mess of stuff. Our Rothman docs. It's all here today.
You buckle up, sit down, get some food. We're going to be here for a while.
Yes, we are.
For
This
3
is definitely
hours.
an overtime day.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
We're going
Yeah.
to 12.
Yeah. The beauty of what I love about this format is that there really is no end to it. Like, we can end it when we want. Well, kind of. Because there's other people need to use the studio. But I love this piece of it. All right. Let's talk about some of our friends and partners. Let's talk about Golden Nugget Jewelers. Yes, it's Christmas. It's the time of love and engagement and family engagement. If you're in the market for an engagement ring, look no further than Golden Nugget Jewelers. Right on the on 8th and Chestnut, in the heart of Jewelers Row in Center City, Golden Nugget Jewelers get you covered. I got a guy. He's the owner. His name's Yaron. Go see him. He's going to take care of you. He's going to give you a whole education on the diamond, get it all set for you, work within your budget. So take the stress out of that purchase. A big purchase. It's going to take the stress out of it. And all you got to, you're going to pop the question. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Valentine's Day, whatever it is. The height of love is here. And if you're looking for gifts for your significant other, you get diamond earrings, diamond pendants. They got everything. So make sure you head on over to Golden Nugget Jewelers. You check them out, goldennuggetjewelers.com. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged.
And I'd love to talk to you about TrueMark and this great program they got going over there with this Greenlight account. If you've got kids, pay attention, because you don't want your kids being like me, running around, you graduate school and you don't know how to balance a checkbook, and you're always running deep and borrow money from pops to try and build your bank account back up. TrueMark's got this Greenlight program where it's all about teaching kids some financial responsibility. It's like the ultimate playbook for finance and finance education. The Greenlight app, it's changing the game and the way you help kids and you help teens learn to save, earn, spend wisely. They save towards goals. You can track their spending. And this is all in this Greenlight app that's totally free. The cool part is they even get their own debit card, and they learn to make purchases. I remember when I got paper routes, buying my own sneakers was good, man. So this will help kids get a little confidence with that. You get the peace of mind. They get the freedom to make smart decisions with their money. You can cap how much is on the debit card and all that, track their spending. It's like coaching your kid through their very own financial game. And for our TrueMark financial member friends, it's totally free. With the holidays right around the corner, now's the perfect time to introduce your kids to Greenlight. Get signed up today for this great program. Visit TrueMark.com/Greenlight for more information.
All right, I love it. All right, joining us now, here he is, Franny Films, our man Fran Duffy, our NFL insider. Good morning, Franny.
What's up, Ant? What's up, Greg? How's it going, guys?
Got a good glow. What, you got 3 monitors going today?
Actually, yes, I got 3 monitors and a ring light going. So we got 4 different things glowing on my face right now.
We see it. We see the glow. I love it. Fantastic. All right. So without further ado, the game plan. What are you seeing? Let's start. Eagles offense. Obviously, all the talk this week about AJ, the passing game. All right. How does it match up?
Well, a couple layers here, obviously. Number one, this is going to be the best defense the Eagles face, certainly through the rest of the regular season, but also, I mean, over the last several weeks. I mean, the Eagles just have not had a run of very good defenses on the schedule, so you got to play who you see on Sundays, but this is the best defense this Eagles team has faced in quite some time. Now, what's also interesting about it, guys, is that the way that the Steelers play, it really kind of leans into one of the questions we've got about this offense going into the postseason, and that is the status of this passing game. When you talk about, all right, well, is Jalen Hurts, can he shoulder the load right now with the way that he's playing? Well, look, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, they're going to come into this game, and they're going to say, we're going to take away Saquon Barkley, and we're going to do that by loading the box. They play as much single high as anybody in football, more than most teams. So they're already, that's the way they're going to roll that second safety down close to the line of scrimmage. It's going to be one-on-one on the outside, whether it's man or zone. They like to play cover 1. They like to play cover 3. They're going to challenge you on the outside, and they're going to say, okay, like Jalen Hurts, you've got to beat us. And so in this game, I think early on, it's going to be very interesting to see, number one, how the pass game executes, and then are they going to be able to scare the Pittsburgh Steelers out of those looks? VG, I mean, or Andrew actually, I think, said it a couple minutes ago, talking about AJ Brown in that last game, that went in 2022 when these two teams last played. AJ went off. He had 156 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. Kind of got the Steelers to back out of some of those looks. If the Eagles are able to do that in this game, the world is their oyster. But the way that they've played for the majority of the season, I mean, this has been one of the worst passing games, and especially in the first half of games. Coming out of the locker room, we've talked about the first half struggles, the first quarter struggles. If they can't do that, then it's going to be a tight one down to the end.
All right, let's talk about that. What have you seen the biggest culprit derailing that, especially early? What are you seeing, and how do you kind of remedy it?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because there have been games where they've come out and said, all right, we're going to run, and then we'll see how we do it. And they get stuffed on the run, because maybe it's, Landon Dickerson tripped, or, Saquon, the defense set a strong edge, and so it only went for 3 yards instead of 7, right? Like, it's been a weird year in terms of how these opening drives have started and honestly sputtered out. I mean, they've really only had, 1 drive against the Rams that went for points on the opening drive. So I think when you look at it, there's some randomness involved, and hopefully that can kind of self-correct. But I think when you look at it, it's about trying to find plays early on that you feel confident in, everybody's on the same page on. But that's what's interesting and frustrating about it. And Jalen Hurts said when he spoke at the podium earlier this week that he's got to get into a rhythm early in games. It's been the opposite. I mean, he is like, how many games have we seen where he starts 1 for 5, and then he completes 10 of his next 11, right? I mean, that's kind of how the script has gone over these last, over the majority of this season. And so I think when you look at it, how the Eagles come out of this game, honestly, it's probably the number one storyline I want to see is, well, what does that offense look like, namely the passing game, coming out of the locker room to start this game?
The way I see it, right, and I look at the pass game, right, I watch the Lions, you watch the Rams last night. The Rams, both teams lean heavily into the run, right? The Lions with Montgomery and Gibbs, the Rams with Kyron Williams and Corum. And you look at what they do. The key's play action, right? Like the Eagles should be a much better play action team, and it should work, Franny. Like it should help Jalen because that freezes the defense a bit, and it gives you the kick that I think he needs to look and to then deliver the football on time.
Yeah, I mean they've been middle of the pack in play action rate for the majority of this season. Now it's slowly ticking its way up close to the top 10. They're currently 11th in that metric, but early on in the season, as this run kind of started, that win streak, they were like 18th, 19th. And when you look at Jalen Hurts' play action numbers, he's consistently one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in football in terms of efficiency and explosive plays off of play action passes. And so I wonder if that's something that they will try and see if they can turn that dial up a little bit. That has been, I mean, look, you go back, we talked after that Baltimore game, he completed 11 passes. I want to say 6 or 7 of them were off play action. So the large majority of them were. It's about just continuing to dial those up and say, and a lot of that has to do with trying to stay on schedule. If you have a couple unsuccessful pass plays early on, you get to 3rd and 7, you play actions that's off the table, right? So I think ultimately this team, I would agree with you. They need to try and dial that level up a little bit higher.
So they do well. I'm sorry, VJ, but they do well in that game in Baltimore. They did well with RPO play action. I'm curious. What do you see from straight back drop back play action, and can that help? Because they don't do a ton of that.
Yeah, I think that ultimately. Yeah, it comes down to all right, this is a team that while they've been under center more this year, that's still not where they live. They're typically in the shotgun, and typically when you're under center, that's where you see more of that vertical play action. That's where you see like Jared Goff more under center play action, where he gets a little bit deeper with his drop, and he's able to deliver that downfield. They're more of a shotgun play action team. But like I said, this year they have been doing a little bit more under center, and they've also been dialing up the pistol formations more, where Jalen Hurts is in the shotgun, but Saquon Barkley's a few yards behind him. So it's kind of the best of both worlds there from a formational standpoint, and the play action game certainly can benefit there. We've seen some of the RPO action.
Is Jalen just uncomfortable?
Yeah, I think that
in the just behind center.
Yeah, so some quarterbacks are, and I don't know if that's something that he feels strongly about. I know, like Joe Burrow, his story, he hates being under center, and so he wants to live in the shotgun and kind of be that presence back there. I don't know if that's the case with Jalen Hurts, but I mean, history points to the fact that it seems like he would rather be in the shotgun than that close to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was going to touch on. If it's a comfortability thing or a Kellen Moore thing, I have a concern for Andy, and tell me if. I don't know how the Steelers are doing it, but they're like a turnover machine on defense. I think they're second or third in interceptions. Do you have any worry that after the week we've had, Jalen may try and take some chances here? And is this the wrong team to be taking chances against?
Yeah, and that's the line you have to kind of tiptoe, right? I think when you look at this defense, they've been able to create turnovers at a really high rate. How much of that is sustainable? You say all right, at some point the quote unquote luck is going to run out there. They are able to get turnovers in basically every which way. I mean, TJ Watt, Nick Herbig have done an outstanding job at the sack fumbles. Keanu Benton, their starting nose tackle, second-year guy out of Wisconsin, made a ridiculous play intercepting a screen pass the other day. You got Minka Fitzpatrick patrolling the middle of the field as the center fielder in their single high coverages. Their rookie undrafted free agent Beanie Bishop, he's been a ball hawk slot corner, which you don't typically see, but this guy gets his hands on a lot of balls. So they've got guys at every level of the defense that are finding the football, getting it on the ground, getting their hands on passes. So, I think when you're looking at Jalen Hurts, though, you've got to we talked about earlier this week how conservative it's been over these last several weeks. You have to start taking some of these chances, and he's going to get opportunities in this game. Like I mentioned, with the way that the Steelers play formationally, it's one high safety, which means you're going to have essentially one-on-ones on the outside for A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Like the one-on-ones are going to be there. And so if you like those matchups, yeah, there are times, but you go back to that game against Pittsburgh. I remember back in 2022, there was the one deep post to A.J. Brown. I believe it was his first touchdown of the game. Minka Fitzpatrick was there in the middle of the field, and that would probably signal maybe don't throw this ball. But Jalen had all of the trust and all the comfort in throwing to A.J. Brown and said, my guy's going to go win. And A.J. Brown, paid it forward and was able to go up and over Minka and make that play for a big play touchdown. And so at some point, we got to realize these are two of the top 11 or 12 highest paid receivers in football. Those guys have to go make plays. And I think if you're Jalen Hurts, you have to give them those opportunities, even against a defense like this one.
Freddie, let's look at the run game, and let's look at Saquon against the Steelers, who are pretty stout against the run.
Yeah. Yeah, Cam Hayward is like kind of their version of Brandon Graham in that he's actually a year older, I believe, or no, you're at the same age as BG, but he's a different position. He's more of a defensive tackle, but he's been dominant against the run, and he also like kind of found the fountain of youth this year as a pass rusher as well. He's got 8 sacks this year, which I don't think anybody would have anticipated. Everybody kind of figured he was on the downslope, but he's playing at a really high level. Their defense is averaging 2 fewer yards per carry when he's in the game than when he's out of the game. And so I think when you look at Cam Hayward, he has certainly been an anchor for them inside. I already mentioned Keanu Benton. Those linebackers are playing really fast and physical downhill. This team misses tackles at the lowest rate of any team in football. So when you look at the fact that they like to load the box, you've got stout guys up front, and they don't miss tackles, this is a really well-coached football team, and they're going to try and take Saquon away. Now, the Eagles, historically, when they go up into a matchup like this, we talked about this against Baltimore a couple weeks ago, they're not bashful. They're going to say, all right, like it's going to be our best versus your best, and we're typically going to come out on top. I think that's going to be their mindset going in. They're going to try and run the ball.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see if they can do. Listen, this is a great front. Eagles have a great O-line. I look forward to. I want to see that matchup play out, man.
Yeah,
that's gonna be fun.
It's going to be Lane and Watt. Are we going to see?
Yeah,
TJ
yeah,
Watt.
that'll be the majority of those reps.
Yeah, yeah. How do you see the other side of the ball? Let's look at this. Looks like no Pickens for the Steelers.
Yeah.
Again, that's a huge loss because the Russ Moonball has really breathed life into Pickens and their offense, because then they can run the ball, because they would love to run it with Najee and Warren and those little dump off the screen game. How does that affect them?
Losing Pickens is a huge effect on this group. And, Russell Wilson last week, it was his worst passing of the season without him in the lineup. Now, they lost Pickens late in the week due to that hamstring. And so it was kind of a late adjustment that they had to make from a game plan standpoint, from an expectation standpoint. So now that they're going into this game with a full week of understanding, we're probably not going to have Pickens, I would expect that things probably look a little sharper for Russell Wilson's standpoint. They don't have a 1-for-1 replacement with all the things that they used him with, because there were times where, hey, we're just going to dump it off to him and just let him run a lot of wide receiver screens. But also, I mean, he's been the best above the rim receiver in football this year. Just, you mentioned those moon balls from Russell Wilson. Nobody does them as often as Wilson, and he's been connecting on them as well as anybody. And Pickens has been on the receiving end of more than half of those moon balls. And so I think when you look at Pickens for the outside the numbers down the field stuff, my guess is that it'll be Mike Williams kind of taking on the shouldering most of that load. He had one of those back shoulder fades last week. As far as like the wide receiver screen stuff, I think you'll see a little bit more there with Calvin Austin, who has been another good deep threat for them. He's a small body, 5'9", 180 pounds, but really fast, really quick. He can make plays with the ball in his hands. So this team, really the identity is, all right, we're going to go deep shots outside the numbers. We're going to go screens. We're going to run the football, and we're going to create yards after catch. So when I look at this on paper, I look at this Eagles defense is designed to destroy this offense. To me, that's with Pickens or without, but especially without, I really feel confident that this Eagles defense is going to be able to put the clamps down on this offense. I think now it's just going to come down to, all right, when those 50-50 balls are thrown, whether it's Slay or Quinyon, you got to make some of those plays. Don't give up those explosives, because obviously those are the game tilting kind of plays. But I think when you look at it, it's designed to force checkdowns, and they just don't have anybody that's dynamic. To me, that's the biggest difference when you look at this Eagles offense versus the Steelers offense. The talent level is so
AJ,
astronomical.
Devontae.
And again, that's versus what they're rolling out there. And then even in the run game, this would be a team, honestly, Ant, where this offseason, it would not shock me if the Steelers went out and said, all right, how can we acquire a blue chip running back? Maybe that's the Ashton Genty team, when you get into the first round of the draft, because that to me is what would really kind of take this offense to new heights, is the fact that they're just not getting a ton of juice from Najee Harris right now. He's the only running back in football with over 200 carries, averaging less than 4 yards a carry. I've got a bunch of numbers in my sheet that Andrew flashed up on the screen earlier, where you just kind of point to the fact that he's just been kind of just a guy, for them offensively this year. He'll run through some contact. He's a nice player. He's not a bad player, but I think in terms of what they want to be going into the postseason, where it's going to be run game, physicality, and then we're going to hit our deep shots when they're available. I think they need a little bit more from that run game than what they're getting right now.
Yeah.
And especially without Pickens, they need that to be an explosive element, because without it, they're just going to have to dink and dunk their way down the field.
Yeah, it's like I look at Warren and I go, I like Warren, but, Warren ain't Gibbs. Najee's not Montgomery, right? And, they're supposed to play those roles. And I'm with you. I think that's where the Eagles have a big advantage, because their run game does not scare me, and they're going to need to lean into it.
Well, Warren's nice in the passing game. He is a good screen guy. And
but he's supposed to be that change of pace guy to Najee, and he's decent. But
I feel like you would think that the linebackers of the Eagles are going to be tested here. It's going to be, I would think, Warren and Freiermuth. They're going to be the targets.
Freiermuth is interesting because he'll be a big weapon in the middle of the field for them.
Yeah, led their team in receiving last week with Pickens out of the lineup, Freiermuth. So, and look, when I look at Jalen Warren, he is a nice player. He reminds me in ways, I think he's a similar type of back to Kenny Gainwell. He's going to give you some nice snaps. He can do a little bit as a runner. He'll probably a little bit more as a receiver, especially as a check down or screen game option. I think when you look at those guys, there's just that they don't have enough game breaking talent. There's a reason why they were in on all of those receivers that were being talked about in the trade market through the summer, through training camp, through the early parts of the season. They were talking with San Francisco about Debo and about Ayuk and, Amari Cooper and Devontae Adams, all the DeAndre Hopkins, all those names that came up. You kind of heard Pittsburgh behind the scenes as a team that would be in the mix there, just because they were kind of missing that element opposite of George Pickens. But I think when you look at this group overall, it's funny. That's kind of the way that the schedule has played out for the Eagles. This Eagles defense has been dynamite this year against really good offenses. You think about the offenses that they've played. We saw what the Rams did to Buffalo last week. We saw Baltimore, what they've been, and Washington has been so dynamic. And this Eagles defense consistently has been so good, where the defenses that the offense have faced have not been good. Well, in this matchup, it's the offense. I love this matchup for the Eagles defense. And offensively, this is the biggest test that this group, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Juan Barkley, that they've faced for the majority of this season.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your chart. And the Eagles, they struggle with some pressure with the blitz coming. And the Steelers are pretty effective at generating pressure with the blitz. So we can expect, you think, to see the Steelers dial up the blitz rate a little bit this weekend?
Yeah, and what's interesting about it, VG, is that they go about the blitz differently than what you typically see from most teams. I think most teams you expect, all right, hey, it's third down, it's going to be blitz and man coverage. Well, the Steelers are opposite, where they go, all right, we're going to play man and we're going to blitz on early downs, and when we get to third down, that's where we're going to play funky zone coverages and kind of go with our with a four-man rush and a spy. They've been outstanding this year at defending mobile quarterbacks. It was they actually played two Eagles opponents right in a row, so I got to watch this defense. Yeah, what they did against Lamar and Jaden Daniels. They shut both guys down back to back. They didn't give up one scramble against either of those players, which has been outside. They've been really, really good at containing those mobile quarterbacks. And so and to me, that's going to be one of the interesting things to watch in this game is, are they able to kind of contain Jalen Hurts as a scrambler? And again, to me, they're going to try and force Jalen to beat them with his arm. That's going to be the big test in this game. And after this entire week, that's what makes this so fascinating. It's going to be a very interesting conversation by the time we get to Sunday night and certainly Monday morning.
The one thing that jumps out of your chart too, which these charts are crazy, when you look at the pressure that's forced on the defensive side for the Steelers, TJ Watt's seventh. He's not. He's only generating pressure 10% of the time. I would think he would be way up at the top. He's not. You got Highsmith and Queen. It's been
a little bit of a topic out in the other side of the state. How he's having a little bit of a down year now. The difference and the reason why it's not become more of a national topic is that he's converting the pressures that he does get into sacks. And so the sack numbers are still there. And so it still looks good. But if you get into some of those next level analytics, those numbers have not been kind to TJ Watt this year, and the other guys up front have looked pretty good. That said, he's still going to be a good matchup. But also I trust Lane Johnson, in that situation. Even when TJ Watt is humming, Lane has been known to shut him down, shut Parsons down, all of those top end rushers. You feel pretty good when Lane Johnson's in there. And so, but no, that's a very good point by you though, VG. I mean, he is having a little bit of a down year so far, TJ Watt.
I heard you mention yesterday too on the show about Cam Hayward, and thought it was really smart if they can catch him because he's their best run stopper. If they can catch him off the field, they'll go to a hurry up or something so you can keep him off the field for some consecutive plays.
Yeah, and that would be, it's one of those things where, look, the defense is allowed to sub if the offense subs. So we know that the Eagles do like to go up tempo. They will go hurry up. But often what they'll do is, all right, we're going to go hurry up, but all right, we're going to go 11 personnel, then we're going to swap out and go to 12, and then we're going to go back to 11, and maybe these receivers will switch. You know, whatever. To me, like, this would be a game where, hey, they're going to get into one personnel grouping. Let's go up tempo and keep everybody on the field and see if we can catch them in that way and see if the run game can get rolling. You're probably going to do that more from a 3 receiver set, because that's the only time where you're really going to see Hayward come out. If they come out in 2 tight ends, almost always Hayward will be on the field.
Yeah, he'll be on the field for that. I'd like to see the Eagles go and deploy more tempo early. Like, I'd like to shake it up a little bit, because I do think that's favorable to Hurts. I think that could help Hurts by going quicker.
Yeah, they've been one of the better up-tempo teams in football over the course of this season. They don't quite do it as high as, like, like Washington has been in the extreme, right? But I would say, like, outside of the teams that are like living in that, they've been up or near the top, and Jalen Hurts has gotten increasingly more comfortable in that, especially just with the new scheme, the new terminology with Kellen Moore. Like, I think it was a little bit of a rocky start, but as you've gotten into like the meat of the schedule, they've leaned into it a little bit more, and he's shown a little bit more comfortability in those situations.
Like, Fran, like, it makes the most sense. If you got a guy who's not entirely comfortable going through quick the process, what he's looking at, to be able to go tempo, to lean into play action, it just gives him that tick. Because when you're going tempo like that and you're going faster, that's going to slow the defense down. That's going to allow Jalen to actually process it a lot more faster. It gives him that tick that I think he needs, which then he's lights out, because he'll deliver the ball where you need, and he'll be fine with that.
And I've talked with quarterbacks in the past too, Ant, where, when they get into tempo, they get into hurry up situations, almost like takes a lot of the thinking out, because now you're just being an athlete, right? It's like you're just being a kid. You're just going out there and you're just kind of leaning into your natural instinct as an athlete, and you're still reading things out depending on the play calls, but you're almost your instincts take over in those situations, and so that might be something there too with Jalen.
All right. It's time for the question of the week.
I mean,
go ahead, VG.
I stocked up, man. What do you think, Franny? We got 1, 2, or 3 gummies for this game.
I don't have a great feeling on this one yet, guys. This is gonna be one where I feel like I'm gonna wake up Sunday morning and I'll have a little bit more clarity. But in terms of gummies, like, I'm glad you stocked up.
You might have to change the rating, one for each quarter.
At least 2. This might be a 3 gummier though.
Yeah, I think it's a 3-1. I think it's a 3. It's a 3-piece. Great is a great line. Uncle Frank watching says, after Franny does the forensics on the game, I need to take an Advil and lay down. That's the ultimate compliment, buddy. That's good stuff. Brother, you're the best,
I
man.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
No,
Fran. We love you.
Love you guys too. We'll talk next week.
There he is.
Nice.
Our man, Franny Films. He's right. Uncle Frank's right. Like, it's good. Give me one more snippet of that, of what you could see. Become a diehard, and you get this. I mean, it's worth becoming a diehard this alone.
Yeah.
Not all the other content that's being done. This is the game plan. This is Franny stuff. Look how intricate and detailed that this is. This is amazing
fascinating
stuff.
It's a great read, man. He put so much time into it. Yeah, highly recommend it. You're not going to get this coverage for each game anywhere.
Yeah, it's
this is like if there's a Super Bowl, some people might do this kind of breakdown. He does it for every game.
Every game. It's fabulous. It really is. All right. It's time for the brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
There he is, the brain. Get ready.
Oh, he's on the road.
He's getting ready.
He's got
a big trip coming up.
Where's he going?
Spain and Iceland.
Oh yeah. I heard about the Iceland trip. Yeah.
Tell him, brain. Tell him you're going to Spain, and what are you going to go see?
I'm actually gonna see a Real Madrid game. So I'm gonna go taking my kids to that.
Real
Looking forward
Madrid?
to that. Should be fun. Yeah.
That's
Why
awesome.
not? Yeah,
I
you know,
love it.
they're saying one in Rome, in this case, one in Spain.
Yeah.
Right? Might as well knock it off the list of things to do. But I got to tell you, if I had that list that he had, my winning percentage would be at least 15 points higher. All those, that was very detailed.
Yeah, I
Rich
don't know.
Kotite needed that back in the day.
I got to tell you, yeah, I mean, what Franny does is pretty amazing. If you get
That
any
was
higher
impressive. I
winning
like that.
percentage, you'll never lose. You'll be banned from the whole world.
No, that was pretty cool though. I liked seeing what I just saw there. That was pretty neat.
All right, so let's get down to it. Over the weekend,
Yes, sir.
let's look at the football first. Tomorrow, Army Navy. One of the great games in Philly. I love
Those
it.
two powerhouses
I
that
miss
Notre Dame
it.
took care of. The two powerhouses.
Oh, stop.
Listen, they're good. All right, forget
Come
about
on,
it.
man.
They're good. VG hating on the
They're good
academies, man.
I love the academies. I hate on Notre Dame and their lame hype.
What do you got?
Oh,
what do you
I respect that.
for this
By the
game?
way, I do respect that. Well, it's interesting. Anthony, both quarterbacks
Totally
may be
like
a
a
little
Michigan
dinged
man.
up. It is. Oh, I can't stand Notre Dame. Can't stand Notre Dame. You don't have to
My
ever
man,
say anything.
Brady.
VG, like I agree with you. Like you have my vote. Enough said.
Ant's got a
but-
leprechaun tattooed on his calf.
That's Boo.
Boo does?
Boo, yeah, he does. We got it together when you're 18 years old.
Anthony,
He
please
got
tell me
the
you don't like
leprechaun,
Notre
I
Dame
got the
football.
map of Italy.
You don't like Notre Dame football, do you?
I love it. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I love Notre Dame.
Oh,
Irish, baby.
Yeah,
Let's
I love
go.
the Irish.
oh.
I
That
love
actually-
college
that
football.
hurt.
And when I was there, I spent like the first time I was there covering a game. Well, actually, I did Notre Dame, Penn State. All my buddies, it was a blast. But I actually went back and I did like 2 weeks in South Bend to write this big story.
That's very cool.
Bob Davey was there, was the coach at the time, and I just got immersed into the culture. And it's just an awesome culture. I love it.
I'm going to tell you a story that you do not. I'm pretty sure you don't know this, but maybe you do. My son, Jewish kid, was obsessed with going to Notre Dame. Didn't get in, but that was his top choice.
Really? I didn't know that.
Could not. It's a great school. Could not get in. He loved it. He visited like 20 schools. Notre Dame was his favorite. He couldn't stop talking about it.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah. He's like, Dad, it's amazing. He's like, it's
Versace.
like no other school I saw.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool, man. Check that
It was
out.
his first choice. Yeah, he didn't get in, but very hard school to get into.
Yeah.
Side note, but obviously it's a great school. So I'm obviously saying it in jest and in fun. But
Whatever.
but anyway, this game, Anthony, the Army, the maybe not so much fun and jest, but anyway, this Army Navy game. Listen, it's the thing that's crazy, Anthony. Look at the total in the game, right? These totals are usually these teams play usually in the teens. Forget
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
Like this game has gone under, I think, 11 straight times, if I'm not mistaken. But I would tell everyone before you just do a blind under here, because this game, quote unquote, always goes under. And Anthony, I know I said to you the other day, this is the best Army Navy, at least version we've seen in it, certainly in those
Years.
11 years.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years I'd have to go back. So I wouldn't just say blindly bet the under, because I think both offenses are good. But God, when you have a history of this many unders in a row, it's hard to do that, right? I think it's a good game. I'm looking forward to, again, the quarterback situation. Both guys, again, a little banged up, both starting quarterbacks here. But I think it's an exciting game. I think it's I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to see it, because I think this has a chance to be the best Army Navy game that there's been in a while. What actually are some points scored as opposed to the traditional 13-9 kind of final.
13-9. Wow. I actually think there's going to be points. I think
Yeah,
both-
I'm saying I think there could be
Yeah.
more points scored in this
I
game.
think
I'm
you're
agreeing
right.
with you.
Yeah, I think Army's good. I know Notre Dame.
Army is good.
Like we
Just
saw
because they
them-
didn't lead Notre Dame doesn't mean they're not good. I
Yeah,
mean,
how about what they
that's,
did to
you know,
Tulane?
It's funny, Anthony, and we talked about that, and I was on the wrong side of that one. What's interesting is, we talked about how Tulane, had not given up anything. Again, if you just go by, that's what I'm saying. If you give the lazy answer, these games always go under, it's a different team. And obviously, again, I think both these teams are actually good. Forgetting the Notre Dame loss. Okay, it doesn't mean they're bad teams. Just means that Notre Dame's better. Yeah, okay, Notre Dame's better. But I think this is going to be a good game, and I actually do think, again, I think there will be some points. We'll see what happens.
All right. How about let's go to the card. I know you're all eagling up. So this is interesting. Brain bet the most games this week he's ever done.
11.
Wow, because I've seen him
11
bet
of the
in person, and
14.
He bet a lot of games when I was there. So that's got
Yeah, no, but that was props, my friend. That was props.
Oh, yeah,
They weren't games. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but it was props. But yeah, I bet 11 of the was there 14 or 15, whatever it is. 11 of those games, in the opening numbers or whatnot. The Eagles game, look, I got 4. I think it's up to 5.5. But Anthony, here's the thing for me. When I look at this game, and I know you're such a big matchup person. When I look at this game, I say to myself, without George Pickens, who I'm not expecting to play, where is Pittsburgh going to get their points? Where are they going to move the ball? I think this is going to be like a very challenging game for Pittsburgh you talked about the under. I agree with the under because I don't think Philadelphia is certainly going to light them up, but I think Philadelphia will be good enough, Anthony, to score in the 20s, and I don't think Pittsburgh gets past 10 here. I'm calling that right now.
Listen. I'm with you. I see the Eagles and under in this game. I do.
I think the Eagles and under, and I kind of like the fact they had this AJ Brown thing. Although I got to tell you, look at him when you open your mouth. Did you see Deebo Samuel yesterday, Anthony?
We talked about it earlier. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. It was he had that drop, man. That would cost them the game because he gets that inside the 5. They go into the end zone.
Probably. Yeah, it changes the entire look. We always say it again. It changes the entire game. I mean, it's like that. And again, it's like that's something because it's not an interception. You don't see in the box score. Oh, by the way, did you see what the guy did? The guy who quit the team. Have you ever seen anything like that?
No.
Yes.
The guy,
that was crazy.
Oh, read about the linebacker, dude. He literally they lost all their they lost all their linebackers. They needed someone to come in the game. He started the first 12 games of the year. And because Greenlaw came back off the torn ACL, they benched him. He refused to go in when they had no players to play. He walked off the field Antonio Brown style. The players shredded him.
I never saw anything like that before.
I don't think he could ever go back in the NFL again. In my opinion, you do that.
No way.
You're right. That's career suicide.
That's career suicide. Again, I don't think I've ever seen something that blatant. And again, I don't know if you can overcome almost everything, but something like that, I don't know. But look, Cooper Kupp, no catches, Anthony, and I give the Rams credit. They got the job done, but from last night's game. But I just like this matchup going back to the Eagles game, Anthony. I like this matchup for the Eagles. I think really struggle to score for Pittsburgh. Without Pickens, I think this is an impotent offense, and I think the Eagles, do enough to win this game by at least a touchdown.
This is a week of great games. Obviously, the game that we'll all be paying attention to, Buffalo, Detroit. How do you see in this game?
Well, it's funny, Anthony. With this game, I was like, I'm sorry, they're honking me here. With this game, I was happy to see that. I bet this line. Sorry, I got to move. I bet this line laying 2 points, and it got bet up, Anthony. Or got bet down to like 1.5. I'm like, wow, I can't believe this. I'm on the wrong side of this. But now it's back up to 2.5, actually laying juice, which, by the way, is what I kind of think it should be. You have a Detroit team at home. Okay. I understand that they deserve to be dinged a little bit for their lack of defense. But again, let's look what happened with Buffalo. They give up 45 points to the Rams. It's not like they're coming off some amazing, incredible performance. So to me, Anthony, again, I think anything less than a field goal, I think Detroit merits a play. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. I think actually the Lions win. They could win by a little margin.
I think the Lions win this one, Anthony. Again, I think it's just I think the line is off. I think Buffalo's getting just too much love here. Sorry about this little sun thing on my chin.
How about Sunday nights? Another one, Green Bay, Seattle. Another one, and you and I have talked about this on Cousins Corner. Neither of us understood the line. Like Seattle at home, and they're catching 3 from Green Bay.
Yeah, I did. When I say I don't get this, I mean I don't get this. I think if you want to be generous, you make Green Bay a 1. If you want to be generous, you say, all right, they're the better team, and you don't give. The days, Anthony, of 3 points home field have evaporated. It's closer to 1.5 now. But Seattle's one of the rare teams I'd give probably closer to 2. And I just, again, these teams, why is Green Bay that much better than this Seattle team? I don't think they are at all. I think it's, again, in 50-50 games, Anthony, you want to give me 3 points in games all these games are so close now. I'll gladly take 3 points. Give me Seattle. And I think probably think they win the game, to be honest. But you want to give me 3 points on top of it? Sure, why not?
I'm with you. Anything else you're eyeing up over this weekend?
Joe, I'm getting that's funny because I'm in my car right now. I know there was definitely some others. I do think Anthony Washington takes care of business if Carr is out. Anything less than a 10 to me. I think it's, you talk about matchups. I'm not expecting Washington necessarily to score 40 in the 40s, but I think they'll score enough. And I really think it's going to be hard for New Orleans with a third string quarterback or second string quarterback with really nothing. They're missing their top 3 receivers, their top tight end. It's just a team to me that's barren besides Kamara, who I don't even think is great anymore. I just think he's good. So I do think they cover that game. And Anthony, I know you disagree with this one, but I do think the Indy-Denver game is going to be a close game. And I think it's back up to 4.5 even maybe. And I think that game is going to be tight. So I'll take the points in the game. I think it's going to be a close game. Denver's a team I never love them when they have to win by margin. And Anthony, I got to tell you, and I don't laugh at me here. And I it's not that I'm backing this team, but I think in my power ratings, the worst team is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do like the Jets laying 3. I know they stink. Doesn't anybody explain to me, but the one team in the NFL I think they can beat is this Jaguars team. And I think they're good enough offensively to at least score something in Mac Jones and company. No, I just don't see it. I think the Jets actually get a little bit of a good taste in their mouth this week, and they win that game by more than 3.
I like it. Anything in the association tonight?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple props I think that are worth doing at the Sixers game. Paul George over 16.5. I know he hasn't been great. He hasn't, but I just think that's too low. And Maxey over 21.5. Again, I understand Embiid is back, but Maxey averaged 25 last year. I just think those are too low. I think worst case I go 1-1, but I think I go 2-0 here.
Yeah,
I'll give you some trash tonight, Brad. If you need to place another bet.
What do you do? What are you 15-8?
14-8 right now. 14-8.
Amazing.
We're going back to Northern Iowa Panthers minus 14.5 versus the Omaha Mavericks. Omaha's got Iowa State coming up on the weekend. I think this is their second out of 3 road games. Look ahead, I think. Panthers, Northern Iowa minus 14.5.
Yeah, taxes and the Panthers.
The trash man.
I'm the trash.
You got to. I mean, you got to put. Yeah, the trash man's record's impressive, man.
It is.
14-8 is freaking great.
Yeah, it's great.
14-8 is great. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, guys, have an awesome week.
Have a safe trip.
I won't see you next week, but I'll speak to you. I appreciate you guys as always. Be good. Good luck, everyone.
There he is, the brain, on his way to Spain.
I sent him a list. I got a buddy
Spain.
who lives in Ireland. I sent him Iceland. I sent him a list of things to do.
Reykjavik?
All over.
Really?
Yeah, he's a member of Parliament at one point. My buddy.
In Iceland?
Yeah, he started the pirate party.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, they became a major
I should join that one. I should join that one.
Their logo is like the skull and crossbones, like the Jolly Roger.
The Jolly Roger.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm deadly serious.
Freaking awesome. Oh, my God. All right. Coming up shortly, our man, Mike Garafolo, NFL Network. But first, let's tell us about some of our friends. Go ahead there, VG. Right. How about a little C-Jam action?
C-Jam Construction. This is my favorite name of any advertiser we have. I love just saying C-Jam Construction. And, if you're doing any home remodeling, you should be saying C-Jam Construction because we all know home remodeling stinks. It's stressful. And when you finally find someone who you can trust, does some nice work, and you feel good. And that's what C-Jam Construction is all about. Family-owned home remodeler specializing in decks, bathrooms, and flooring. Their goal is to help their clients alleviate the challenges and frustrations that come with home remodeling. They're doing a giveaway benefiting CHOP, too. Now through December 20th, there's an online raffle for a chance to win a Yeti cooler and a Kelly Green Saquon Barkley jersey. All proceeds from the raffle will go towards CHOP Online Toy Drive.
That's awesome.
Yeah, raffle tickets are $10 a piece, and there's no limit to the amount you can buy and donate in one shot. The winning raffle will be picked on December 21st, and people can enter by going to cjamconstruction.com/toy-drive. If you're looking at CJam for some work, be sure to mention PHLY to receive 15% off when you call in 856-329-2933 about your next home project. See their full selection and learn more about the products and warranties on their website, cjamconstruction.com.
All right, that's all about the BetPark Sportsbook online casino app. Who brings us the brain, right? They bring us the brain every week. Don't forget, my team at the BetPark Sportsbook online casino app presents Double the Spread. Every Friday, they're going to pick a game right around noon. So go on the BetParks app and check out which game they're designated for Double the Spread. So they pick a game, and they pick an underdog, and then they'll double it. And that has been killing it all season long. So double the spread. It's a great offer, and that's for all BetParks users. All right, don't forget BetParks. You bet more than just a score. All the props that we talk about, like tonight, over Maxey. I think he's right about that. I think over Maxey, 21.5 seems light to me.
And
for Tyrese.
I'd run a BetParks right now. Northern Iowa's only 14.5. It's 15 in some books already.
Go for it. Go for it. Sunday, of course, birds. You got that. Birds and under is what we like here. All right. The BetParks Sportsbook app lets you double the spread every weekend. So check it out. BetParks.com is terms and condition. Double the spread. There's always another way to win on the BetParks app. Going to be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Now, this portion of the program brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. You got to check out the TrueMark difference, the credit union difference, TrueMark.com/PHLY. And now joining us, he is the voice when it comes to the NFL and all the news. You must follow him. He, of course, our own from Philadelphia, our man, Mike Garafolo. Mikey G!
What's up, cuz?
What do you say, buddy?
How are you, pal?
So we got, this is a great game, man. Eagles-Steelers.
Yeah.
We're excited about it down here.
You should be, man. It's this Steelers team, I think to me, Tomlin's the coach of the year for a variety of reasons. And I hate kind of doing that. The coach of the year is like, there's 10 candidates every year that really are deserving of being mentioned. And it goes to a guy who's, the bar is, I don't think he's ever won it before. The bar is always so low. And I think we talked about Andy, who's only won it once before, because once you establish yourself as a great coach, you're expected to win double-digit games every year. But the way that he's done it this year, and I would extend it to his entire coaching staff. They've done a great job of game planning week in and week out. If you haven't seen the Hard Knocks, gives you a little peek at how Tomlin does what he does behind the scenes. So they're going to come ready to play. If you're going to beat them, you're going to have to be sound in a lot of phases of the game.
So, just curious, when you look at no Pickens, right? It appears like Pickens not going to play on Sunday. And how do they move the ball? I mean, I look at him and, Najee and Warren, they're okay, right? I mean, Russ has come in and get him life. Without Pickens, how badly is that offense going to struggle?
They're not. I mean, they're going to move the ball, and they've got Fryer move. And now you take away the moon ball that's so hard to defend for a cornerback because the receiver's got his face back to the ball. The cornerback in most cases got his back to the ball. And then you deal with the size and the ability of George Pickens. It just makes it, and the average receiver's got the advantage. You add in Pickens and all that stuff. It makes it so much harder. So that's why they really like that connection. So you lose a little bit of that, but they've got guys they can go to. Freiermuth, Calvin Austin's been a guy who didn't have a big game last week, but he stepped up for them. Van Jefferson will give you a play here and there. They've got talent on that side of the ball, and it's one of those things where you almost sometimes come away and go, and they've won high scoring games. It's not like they've just won the 19-10 games or whatever. You come away and you go, how did they do that? Like, how did they're well coached, they're well schemed up. Arthur Smith's done a real nice job. They've got so much experience on that coaching staff on both sides of the ball. My guy, Mike Sullivan, who used to be the offensive coordinator with the Giants and a longtime receivers coach, he actually called the plays last year. I thought that was big for them because he was the play caller last year. They bring in Arthur Smith, but they still had him as kind of a bridge and a sounding board for Smith. So I think he's helped a lot. They're just, they're in this day and age, when you look at the Tomlins and the Harbaughs and the way that they get their guys ready to play and they don't, for the most part, beat themselves, it's fun for me to watch.
Yeah, I'm with you. It really is. What did you make of the whole AJ Jalen saga that played out this week?
Yeah. So I just think it's a lot easier because we when they came in or when AJ came in and it was like, oh, these guys are best buds and they've trained together and all that stuff. And it was like you build up the relationship. It's with anything. As you work alongside somebody, there'll be moments of difficulty. I mean, we've got our three insiders with me, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, and it's like, oh, we're the best of buddies, and we worked out. You should see the text thread sometimes, like how nasty it gets. I mean, it's just you're going to have those moments.
You and I worked together. There was no issues.
Never. But other folks at that station, which I love them all, but there was moments where I had to, dig in, making my $7.50 an hour or whatever it was, and say, no, you're not gonna run me over like that, that. Mostly because you always had my back. I knew I could talk tough like that. So I just, the problem is it's so public, and AJ is so, out front with his emotions and honest. He is honest. I'll give him that. He will not lie to you, which is last year. Remember, he didn't want to talk.
Yeah,
because he said, I forget. I'm paraphrasing, but basically didn't trust himself to answer the questions because he knew how it was going to end up. So I don't think I've heard all the rumors. I've checked in on all of them. You always hear these things. Maybe we'll find out 20 years from now that they were all true. Who knows? But for now, everybody's denying it and saying that. But they got to get this thing on track. He was wide open early in the game on a sail route, flag route, 7 route, whatever you want to call it. And Jalen didn't pull the trigger for whatever reason. And I remember watching that play, and I go, all right, I'm going to watch his reaction here. Yeah. He wasn't happy. Yeah, he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't happy the way that he walked off. So they got to feed him. They got to get the ball to him on Sunday. And the last time this happened, they did. It was 4 for 29 against the Vikings, I want to say, or it was a Monday game, and then I think and then it was like 9 for 131 the next game. So I think you'll see something like that.
Do you what do you think the issues are? Like, are you buying into the passing game that it's ranked 31st and it's ultimately going to doom them on the run to the Super Bowl?
No, I don't think it's going to doom them. I think if they lose a game, you're not going to be like, well, this passing game completely disappeared, sort of the way it did last year. I mean, the entire offense, the way that it disappeared. If I'm a defensive coordinator, I want to make Jalen, and I thought he did try to work things last week. I thought he really tried to, hey, you take that away, all right, I'm coming over here. And, I was watching it live just to kind of see that. And maybe, I don't know, but that play that I'm talking about, maybe he was like, you know what? I don't see it. So I'm going to come down to another option instead of just boom. Sometimes you just got to put it up for him, especially in a situation like this. You may make a mistake. You're playing the Panthers. I think that's the time to do it, right? That Panthers team played tough. I told you, we talked about it last week. They're playing tough. We knew they were going to give him a game. I think if I'm a defensive coordinator, I want to make him do that. And I want to have the kind of game that Carolina had against him. But I don't think you sit there and go, Jalen Hurts is a liability for this team. He's still going to make the plays. He's still going to be able to. He's just got to let it go at this point.
Yeah, I feel you. Did you ever see anything like last night with the linebacker? Like we just. Yeah. I mean, that's career suicide.
Yeah, it happened. I feel like it happened this year. And then there was. I actually reported it one year. Who was the linebacker for it? Was the 49ers. It was it was one of their Ahmad Brooks. Okay. He took his cleats off on the sideline and just completely said, I'm not going in the game. And I don't remember the specifics of it. And I remember putting that report out. I'm like, I'm going to get some pushback. And everybody was like, yeah, that's what happened. They confirmed it. I'll give the Niners, I'll give George Kittle all the credit in the world for. We're not going to tolerate that. As bad as things are right now for this team, we are not going to tolerate that. So I've seen it before. It happened earlier this year, and maybe it didn't come out. Maybe it was just like we heard about it and we just weren't comfortable putting it out there because of this. But Deontay Johnson. Yeah, that's right. With the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah. He refused to go in you're out of here in the middle of the game. It's Who's the one that retired at halftime?
Antonio Brown.
Cornerback. Vontae Davis?
Oh, Vontae Davis. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Retired in the middle of the game and then had a commercial about retiring.
I mean, how nuts. These dudes are crowding our minds.
Yeah, it's career. You're killing your career when you do that, though. You really can't do that.
All right, let's go through a little bit of the league. It's a big weekend, man. A lot of fun games. Lions and Bills on Sunday, which is wild. It's going to be a wild one. How do you see this matchup?
I like Detroit in this one. I do.
Yeah.
I think Detroit is This is a dig. So they're coming off the Thursday game, right? They got the long week. Buffalo's coming off that game the other day, which was a disappointment. Buffalo's got a tough schedule here. They're in the thick of it. I mean, a lot of these teams do, honestly, which is good. I like that we're getting these guys tested. I mean, Detroit's had a tough schedule too. I just feel like this is a dig in. You know, we're the Detroit Lions. We are going to announce our presence type deal. And Buffalo's banged up. Both teams are banged up. But Buffalo's banged up this week. I got to see about the practice participation today. But they've got guys in the secondary that haven't practiced this week. And that's not great when you're going up against this team. I like Detroit.
Yeah, I do too. Then you got Green Bay, Seattle. I was a little surprised. I don't think Seattle's getting – so the Packers are a 3-point favorite. I don't think the Seahawks get any love.
No, they're not. They're not. I thought they were going to lose last week. I thought our guy Jonathan Gannon, well, my guy Jonathan Gannon.
That's your guy. Ain't my
was
guy.
going to take him down last week, and it didn't happen. And they won rather convincingly, right? They were out in front the entire game and were able to maintain that lead. So they love Mike McDonald out there. They feel like he's on point with everything. Like there's no wasted time or movement out there, and not in a like Coughlin, Belichick abrasive way. Just he is a first-year head coach that has been so on the mark for them. They're so impressed. They think they hit it out of the park with that hire. And the team's playing like it now. They had a little bit of a lull, but they're really playing like it right now.
So speaking, you just brought him up, and everybody's talking about it. Obviously, Belichick goes to Carolina. Was there any jobs you think that he would have profiled for? Or was this move strictly for his kid, like in the future? What do you uncover here?
Maybe Jacksonville. I think he understood that he was if we had 6, 7, 8 openings, whatever it winds up being, he was not going to be a candidate for every single one of them. I mean, look at the teams that already have openings. New Orleans with Mickey Loomis as the general manager. Chicago with Ryan Poles, and then they've got Kevin Warren as well. Like, it was just never going to happen there. It's got to be complete and total control for Bill Belichick. And that's why it didn't work out in Atlanta last year. And Seth Wickersham at ESPN wrote a story that really got to the crux of it. These guys feel threatened. It's like, I'm the team president or I'm the general manager. Well, I'm not going to hire this guy because I'm going to be marginalized and potentially pushed out. I'm going to be out of a job in a little bit. So now the owner could just step up and say, yeah, forget it. And my understanding is Shad Khan in Jacksonville has a relationship with Belichick, a decent relationship. To me, that was the one that I was, kind of earmarking for him. And I don't know on his end what he had heard or felt about that. But I do think there's a lot that's on the level here with regard to his appreciation of where college football is right now. The fact that he thinks that he can bring everything that he's done in the NFL to the college game and say, well, all these college guys are so used to having to do everything. I'm going to have it siloed. I'm going to have my personnel department. I'm going to have my coaching department and be able to manage both.
Yeah, so he's got Mike Lombardi.
Yeah. And that'll make me successful. And I do appreciate the fact that it's not Alabama he's going to. I mean, it's North Carolina. If they're in the contention for a national title, he elevated the program to a place that it's never been before. I think that's part of it. Legacy is a part of it. He's trying to find a way. I mean, I don't know that he sits there and says, I got to find. He loves coaching. He just wants to coach. But I think there's a legacy aspect to this and passing it on to his son as well. We got to see the full contract to see if there's a clause about Steve Belichick as the successor, because there was a lot of talk about that being a clause potentially put in the contract. So we'll see about that. I think he's going to do well. I hope he does well. I don't want to see him go there and fail, because then it's like, then you start to question everything and say maybe it was more Tom Brady, which I think is ridiculous. Right? But if he fails at North Carolina, you're going to go, dude, like, you can't nudge out Clemson and Dabo for 1 year here. Like, what's going on?
Well, especially the way the landscape is with the portal, right? So, you're going to build your own team. Listen, he was at NFL Films. He's been there, parked for hours, probably pouring through that college tape, going through the portal, for seeing what he likes. I'm with you. By the way, just a quick aside, I love where college football's at. Like, I'm in love with this sport. It's so much better. It's great. And guys are going to come out. They're going to stay because you're getting paid, and it just makes the NFL better because you got quarterbacks that are more seasoned coming in. But I'm with you. I'm hoping he succeeds too, because there's no way you're telling me that Belichick was a passenger on Brady's bus.
Right. I know. I get you. And that's and still there'll still be skeptics who say, "Well, it was the college level, and he showed what he can't do without Brady at the NFL level, and both." Okay, fine. Like whatever. But I just think that was a perfect marriage between the two guys for most of the time. I mean, it fell off at the end there, but for most of the time, and the fact that the greatest gift that Brady gave to Belichick was his ability to buy in and be the guy. Like in a meeting of 53 players, he would call out Brady, and the 53rd guy would go, "Well, if Tom Brady's taking that and he's calling him out, I better be on my P's and Q's here." You know? So that was a big part of it, in addition to, I don't know, being an otherworldly quarterback.
Do you guys give any I don't know, credence to the buyout clause he has in case an NFL team comes knocking? Like if he leaves after June 1st of 2025, it's only $1 million buyout.
So it basically blocks him, if you want to say, for this cycle, only this cycle, because the next hiring cycle will be after the 25 season. So potentially it could be a one and done type deal. I don't know how the negotiation went with regard to him wanting that low of a buy, because some of these buyouts are ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I would think he would want at least to give the flexibility. And I gave his answer yesterday about I didn't come here to leave. Nick Saban also told us he wasn't going to be the Alabama coach, and was the Alabama coach in like a week after that. So, I think there's still the potential for him to come back to the NFL at some point. He's not Pete Carroll. Who are some of the other guys? Tom Coughlin, great shape. Pete Carroll, great shape. Marv Levy was a machine too.
Yeah.
Belichick walks with the limp, and he's not the best in shape guy. So you don't see him coaching into his 80s, I wouldn't think. But there's nothing to say he can't come back in 2-3 years.
Okay, he's living the young life out there. He's on Instagram with his
partner. Yeah, you know what? And he mentioned yesterday that the feedback he got on social media was great. And I don't know if that means like he was in his DMs, right, to see what was happening there, or if he saw the comments. Like he was scrolling through all that. That was there were a couple of red flags yesterday. The other one was he was so relaxed yesterday, and I hope this continues. We almost got bulletin board material. He said, when I was in the NFL, I would go to North Carolina. I'd want to, and you send your scouts to. And he almost finished it. And I was waiting to see like what program he was going to take a shot at. Like, oh, you send your scouts up to, I don't know, Wisconsin or something like that. I don't know, somewhere cold. And he should have at that point, I saw him in his head go, I'm not going to say a team because I may see this team down the line. He should have just said Duke at that point, because everybody knows it. You know what he said earlier.
Yeah, it's so interesting because when he's not guarded, he's fascinating. He's a great conversationalist.
He was the first time. It was the McAfee show during the draft this past offseason. And I remember the visual of it. They were all sitting at the desk, and he was standing up, and he had a pocket square and a tie, and he was dressed up, and he was like holding court. And I'm like, who is this guy? And I if you watch the Dynasty series that they had on Apple TV, they showed press conferences from when Brady took over for Bledsoe. He came to the press conference and announced that Tom Brady, I was like, Belichick announced who his starting quarterback was going to be for the rest of the season. This guy don't offer anything anymore. And he was smiling and he was jovial. And I remember texting people in Boston and saying, when did that change? And they said Spygate. That's exactly what it did. Once it was, then the press conferences were all on that level. So I would think he'll be a little bit more relaxed this time around. And it's a fresh start with a media corps down there in North Carolina. We'll see.
So when looking at the next crew of coaches, who are the hot candidates? I mean, we know Ben Johnson, obviously.
Yeah, Ben Johnson. Some of these coordinators are some of the younger guys, like Bobby Slowick or Drew Petzing. These are the names that were coming up. You've got the old guard on the defensive side of the ball, and I hope, Anthony, that Spags gets a look because he certainly deserves it. And he's been tainted by the St. Louis Rams job that he took, where at the time they were mostly focused on how do we get out of here and move, right? And they just didn't. And Kevin Demoff, who was an executive, still is with the Rams, was an executive. He put out a tweet this offseason saying that we didn't put him in a position to succeed. No one could have succeeded, and it's high time for him to get a second gig, which is ironic to me because he didn't take the Washington job the year before because he met with Dan Snyder and he just didn't have a good feel. And then he was immediately validated because Snyder then had, Vinny Serrato put out a statement saying, oh, we both decided that he wasn't ready to be a head coach. What? Within 2 hours was like valid. Oh, you know what? I made the right call. And then went to St. Louis and it was a much better situation. So, yeah, we're looking at Spags. I think Marcus Freeman's going to get some attention with Notre Dame, maybe in large part depending on what happens the next couple of weeks here. Who am I missing? Josh McCown is a name that just came up, who's done a great job as the quarterbacks coach in Minnesota, which he got an interview with the Texans as a player. Like he hadn't even started his coaching career. So you may say, oh, quarterbacks right to head coach well, Andy did it, but quarterbacks right to head coach is a jump. But this is a guy that was getting looks before he even started his coaching career. So we'll see a lot of interviews. It'll be a wide net cast. I think Terrell Austin, the defensive coordinator for the Steelers,
he's
was
good.
a hot head coaching name years ago and had gotten interviews. To me, I'd give him a look because I think he doesn't get enough credit for what's happening at Pittsburgh defensively.
All right, so ultimately, last thing, Birds, Steelers, who you got?
It's a tough one. I'll probably go Eagles. I'll probably go Eagles.
Looks like
do you remember? I was thinking about this today. Do you remember the game? It was like Doug's third game, and they played Pittsburgh, and they walloped them at home.
Yeah.
It was like 30-3 or something like that.
I mean, listen, Pittsburgh hasn't won since 1965 here. Not a lot of games.
Yeah,
but,
it's funny because I heard that on Good Morning Football this morning, and I was like, oh, yeah, I was starting to think about all the games, and I thought about that game. I was like, still can't believe that game that they just completely walloped them.
Yeah, I mean, look at a couple of years ago when, the AJ goes off against the Steelers.
Yeah.
Big game.
If I'm the Eagles, I need my defensive linemen to be game wreckers. They cannot let us run the ball, or we cannot let them run the ball on us if I'm the Eagles. Because they know they're going to try to. And Najee Harris has had 16 carries the last 3 games. They want it to be north of that. They would love to have it close to 20, if not all the way there. Jalen Warren also going to get some looks. Cordero Patterson is a guy they've worked in. So they're good with rotating and they're all physical. So to me, the run defense has got to be on point Sunday.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, you had any chance to watch the young Russian thrive despite Torts' insanity?
Yeah, no, I've seen bits of it. It's been tough. Like they've been up against NFL games, and my wife is traveling this week, so I'm solo parenting. In fact, I told you guys I have a hard out at 10:30 here because I'm going to Frosty the Snowman as a chaperone for the. Nice. My wife. She volunteered as a chaperone. She's not going to see this. She volunteered as a chaperone for this field trip 2 months ago, and then she's like. Oh, I'm traveling that week. I won't be back in time. And I'm like, okay. There's just kind of an awkward silence. And she's like, you think you could step in? What?
Football Friday?
You volunteered for both of us? So, yeah, I'm going to see a Frosty the Snowman play in a couple minutes here.
Hey, that's beautiful, brother. I love it.
I mean, you asked me about the Frosty head coach, and I gave you the answer of Frosty the Snowman there. So
that's it, buddy. That's it. I got mine next week. All right.
What's that?
Our Christmas play is next week. So I'll be there.
Oh, I got like 4 of them, man. I had Vivian yesterday. I got Carmen's next week. Carmen joined the choir, and they're singing. I mean, I got to check. They might be singing at the White House the way that she's lined up there.
I love it. Brother, listen, enjoy it, man. We love you, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
It's not like back at St. Richard's when we went caroling and But they would call. I don't even. Does this term exist anymore? They would call them shut-ins, right? The older people, they call them shut-ins, which is a horrible term.
Yeah. Let's go caroling, little kids, for the
going to the shut-ins. The shut-ins. You're not letting them out.
That's awesome. The shut-ins.
That's
right, great.
We'll talk next week, boys. I got a date with Frosty before he melts.
Give Frosty our love. See you, buddy.
All right.
The shut-ins. It's true.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a horrible
It's
thing.
a terrible term.
Oh, let's go caroling for the
The
shut-ins.
shut-ins.
The poor people who do nothing. They're waiting for us to carol, Christmas carol.
Just sitting at their window waiting.
All right. Let's talk about some of our partners, shall we? Let's go to Rite Aid.
Oh, I love Rite Aid. Who doesn't love Rite Aid? And it's still allergy season. I know I'm still got this itchy throat in the morning sometimes, watery eyes. So what do? You know the symptoms: itchy, red, swollen, watery eyes, sneezing, congestion, scratchy throat, brain fog, all that stuff. Well, Rite Aid's here to help you. First of all, sign up for Rite Aid reward emails at riteaid.com/rewards to receive alerts about allergen levels in your area. Rite Aid's got a bunch of over-the-counter options necessary to ease your symptoms. They got nasal rinses, they got nasal sprays, they got antihistamines, they got everything you need. Nasal corticosteroids. I just like saying that. So they got that there. And if you're still not getting enough relief, you can always ask a Rite Aid pharmacist if there's a different type of allergy medication you need. Like maybe you need to sprinkle in a little decongestant. You can always ask a Rite Aid pharmacist for recommendations on ways to get relief during your allergy seasons and whatever allergy you have. Visit your local Rite Aid today. Stock up on allergy relief and catch up on your new immunizations while you're there for RSV, shingles, and more. Walk in or schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com.
All right, my man. Thank you, brother. Hey, listen, how about giving the gift of headline entertainment this holiday season? Parks Casino. You could purchase gift cards for concerts and comedy concerts and the whole thing at the Excite Center. You got the Liberty Bell Beer Garden, the Parks Grill Steakhouse, the Bamboo Noodle House, all at Parks Casino, our casino of choice. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Pennsylvania's number one casino, right in Ben Salem Street Road exit off of 95 and the PA Turnpike. The Excite Center, state-of-the-art entertainment. Here you got coming on. Here, tickets on sale now for these headliners. Saturday Night Live's Colin Jost returns 2 nights at Parks Casino, March 14th and 15th.
Hey, Scarlett, does this suit make me look fat?
Plus, country artist Cole Swindell on February 7th.
You singing, Joey? Joey! It's Carolina, tails California.
Wow, how'd you know that?
I don't even know what it sounds like. I just see the lyrics.
Our man, little Joey Marone, loves the country music.
Hey,
big countryman over here.
A little boot slapping leather and
skateboarding and country.
Skateboarding and line dancing.
January 24th, actor Richard Kind from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Whoa, Larry. Whoa. Hey, whoa.
January 18th, the reggae sounds of Shaggy.
But you got me on the counter.
Well, wasn't me.
February 8th, Jerry Cantrell, Alice in Chains.
I'm the man in the box.
March 8th, magician Michael Carbonaro.
Whoa, where'd that ship go?
Country star Lee Brice on March 22nd.
There's a rumor going around about me and you.
ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, it's a football Friday, and it's time now for our injury report with our favorite, the Rothman Doctors. Don't forget, Rothman Doctors. Rothman has a team for each body part. They're amazing. We love Rothman. They're dedicated to you. And let's welcome our man, Dr. Robert Franks, joins us. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
What a pleasure, Doc. What a pleasure. Hey, Doc, scoot over just a little bit so we see your face. There we go. Perfect. And we get to see your handsome mug.
So, you're awesome. Thank you.
Today, we're going to talk a little bit about concussions and which Trevor Lawrence has a concussion. We talk about this all the time, stemming from the NFL all the way down through youth when it comes to football. So let's just talk about it in general. What leads, what of those hits, what leads to the concussion?
So if you think about the brain, right? The brain is kind of sitting like a rose on a stem. So when you get hit, chest or neck, that radiates the head or the head itself, the brain goes back and forth like this and hits the skull from the inside. That's usually what ends up changing the way the brain neurons function at the cellular level, and that's what leads to the symptoms.
How do you tell, by the way? Like, I mean, there's obvious symptoms, but sometimes, we talk about seeing stars, right? Like you talk about like that sort of thing. Some of the symptoms that people may not kind of recognize right off the bat that are less obvious. What are those?
Yeah, I mean, visual changes, dizziness, nausea, the lights are on, but no one's home look. Like, you're talking to them and their eyes are everywhere, but on you. Some people have a lot of issues with balance, coordination, and certainly asking them questions, and they just don't respond appropriately. And then everybody knows headache and such.
Yeah. What are some of the long-term effects that, a concussion can have on the brain itself?
I mean, the good news is we've gotten a lot better at making a diagnosis, and we've gotten a lot better at treatment. I mean, when I first started, it was everybody rested. I mean, now that's the last thing that we do. So, we're looking at really how is your balance? How is your eye movement, neck pain? We look at how social emotional they are, how do they sleep, and how is their brain functioning? And our whole goal is to get all 6 of those things under control. Sometimes we have a harder time doing that. And sometimes people have a pretty big history. Those are the people that when we start doing our treatments and they don't respond, that we start thinking and worrying about the long-term effects. What happens with the long-termers? Well, you saw the hit that we were talking about just a couple seconds ago. But when we worry, we see like somebody gets hit with a lesser hit, symptoms are worse. It takes longer for the patient to get better. We start seeing, we talk about the protocol on NFL Sunday, and we start to see people getting tested in the protocol. We can't get them back to what they were at baseline. So we test them beginning of the season and when they're hurt and as they recover. And if we can't get them back to what they were at their baseline test or at the beginning of the season, then we get more concerned. Yeah, something's going on here, and we're not getting them where they need to be back to what they started.
You always hear about the repeat concussion. Like once you have 1 or 2, you're more susceptible to more. Is there a correlation there?
The statistic everybody grabs is once you have 1, you're 4 to 6 times more likely to get a second. That's the statistic. We're starting to see that change. All right. The issue really becomes is, did you really fix the first one? And is the first one still playing a role in the second one? Or do we have like a truly isolated second one going on at the same time? That it's really looking at these ones that are kind of prolonged. Were they really better to begin with? Or did we not appropriately rehab something, or did we miss something?
It's interesting because you mentioned fixing it. You mentioned the 6 things that you're looking at. How do you attack it? Like, what is the treatment for each of those symptoms?
So when I kind of break it down when I have a patient, whether it's on the sideline or whether, because I've been covering sideline football for like 25 years. So whether it's on the sideline or one of the international events I do, or here, I look at those 6 things. And then it's like, we have testing on the sideline for it. We have testing in the office for it. We have testing and therapy for it. And we're really looking at, how do I take those 6 things and how do I give a treatment to the athlete to get them better? Neck pain is going to be physical therapy. Visual issues. We actually have now therapy for vision.
Wow.
And it is almost like PT for the visual processing part of the brain, which is in the back.
Wow.
We've got
That's
physical
fascinating.
therapy. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on, and it's very different.
How
when
do you
and
have
I
PT
played,
for your vision?
yeah, we are basically giving them stimuli, and like we'll flash lights in front of them. We'll have them look at different targets, and we're retraining them, just like Dr. Pepe and Dr. Salvo, who you had on the last couple of weeks. Just like they're working on retraining knees and shoulders, we're retraining the visual system.
Wow, that's
We work on
fascinating.
retraining their balance and coordination. We start working now very quickly with emotionality, because kids within 5 to 10 days, they're stressed out because they've got school they're missing. And at the same time, hey, is someone taking my position? Am I now going to be second string? Sleep, we find, makes everything worse if they're not sleeping appropriately. And then, of course, we're always testing. How is the brain doing? How is their visual memory? How is their verbal memory? How is the recall? Are they doing things as quickly as they could before? And this is especially critical in the college and high school kids, because the same things that make the NFL guys symptomatic is worse because what are they using all the time? Smart boards, iPads. And that's where the kids have their downfall, because that visual issue, their inability to focus, becomes even more challenging for them. So they're getting attacked two ways. They can't play football, and they're having a hard time in the classroom.
Wow. That's fascinating. It's so interesting. It's really interesting in the developments that you guys are making in, healing it, like and helping thwart the long-term effects from the concussions.
Oh yeah, it's changed a lot. We just published internationally another consensus statement on concussion. The United States itself has done a couple, one or two of which I participated in. And we've really advanced. And I was in the second paper and now the third paper for the team physicians consensus statement. And just to watch how we've evolved from just between those things where it was kind of like, guy comes in, okay, you're a complete rest. No school, stay home.
Right.
Exercise. Now, if you come in the office and you're looking half decent, you're exercising within 24 hours. We are trying to not do school accommodations if you're doing okay. And parents come in and it's like, oh my God, this is completely different than what we're used to hearing. And it kind of got buried in COVID. But yeah, we are very aggressive now. If you can, actually half decently do a physical exam in the office, symptoms are under control, we'll start to push you. We'll get you on the bike. And if your headache is a 4, we'll kind of let you go to a 6 and then pull you back a little bit. No different than, Dr. Pepe and Dr. Salvo. They're going to get their toe down first to start them walking again. Then get their toes down, then their foot down. And that's how you advance the patient. So it's really active engagement now.
That's fast. That's so fast. Listen, I have 2 kids that are athletes and, they both play football. And so as a parent, it's just amazing to hear. And just as a steward of the sport of football, I love hearing that. Doc, God bless you guys, man. I always talk about Rothman and what you guys do when it comes to participating in these groundbreaking studies. It's amazing, man. I thank you.
No, I appreciate it. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do this, because it gives a chance for parents and the athletes to go, okay,
yes,
there's something for me to do and I have more control and it's going to make me feel better. And it's not just sitting there, because athletes don't do well sitting. And quite honestly, neither do parents. So
yes,
giving them something to look at and a goal has completely changed things.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Doc, listen, have a happy and blessed holiday season. Thank you
Same
so
to you guys.
much.
It was a
You're
pleasure.
fantastic.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. You guys have a great holiday as well.
You too, buddy. What a pleasure, man. Dr. Frank's fantastic. I didn't know that. Listen, as a parent, kids play football.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal.
As an uncle, my nephew's had 4 concussions, mostly skateboarding incidences and stuff, and doing daredevil stuff.
Well, look, we got a skateboarder here in Joey.
Yeah.
I'm sure he just got off breaking his face.
Yeah.
How many stitches you get, Joe? 7 stitches under his eye.
Yeah.
I'm
You
sure
ever had
you've
a
had a lot of
concussion?
concussions.
Yeah, like 4
concussions. Yeah. Listen, if you're active, you're going to. Then the fact that they're making these sort of groundbreaking advances is a big deal. That's Rothman.
You wear a helmet, Joey?
No, dude. Come on, bro.
Tony Hawk wears a helmet.
Come on, bro.
Helmet's not cool, man.
I know. Come
Come
on,
on
bro.
with the helmet.
All right, we got our man. We're looking forward to him this week, and we can't have a week go by without our man. All right, hometown hero from ESPN and ABC, the great Kevin Negandhi.
Kevin.
We match. You're muted, brother.
I've had 6 concussions, fellas, through my time. So that was a very, very instructive conversation you just had with the doc.
I mean, you've had 6?
6, yeah.
Wow. Football?
Yeah, I was an idiot. Football, there was a couple bar fights. I was an idiot. I was an idiot, man. I used to have a lot of fun, and I was so.
I love it, Kev. The bar fights, yeah, I probably had a couple of those too.
That'll be over 3. That'll be over.
Like when you go, my money got knocked out. Yeah, that's a concussion. That's fantastic.
Listen, I don't really share that a lot on because obviously
we're dads and the whole thing.
But we're all idiots at certain points in our lives, and honestly, the situation I was in, they had it coming, so I was pretty proud of getting out of there.
Well, you're a man of justice. I know that, brother.
Yeah. Good to see you guys.
So let's get into it. What a week it was, drama-filled, surrounding this football team.
You're winning 9 straight. This clearly was festering. But let's actually backtrack here. And first 4 games of the season, Jalen was not protecting the football, right? He was taking risks. That Packers game, we throw that ball in the red zone in a game that's critical now, that's playing a role here if you look at seeding and how things play out. So, honestly, I think they told him, hey, don't take risks. I think Jalen was more aware of that. The problem is that they leaned into, their biggest strength, that offensive line, and the best running back on the planet. And I don't think anybody has an issue with that. The issue, I think, is that he hasn't taken any risk. And as a result, you get something on tape and it plays a role. He holds on to the ball too much. Sometimes you're staring at 1 and 2. And if you don't have 1 and 2 in our case, it's 1 and 1A, you don't move the ball down the field enough. And I think it could bite them in the butt big time in the playoffs against really good defensive coordinators, against a guy like Brian Flores with the Vikings. We saw, Todd Bowles has them in a blender. He has Jalen Hurts in this offense in a blender for the last 3 years. Jalen rolling to his left. He knows he can't do anything with it. So I think that's cause for concern. My thing is why is it publicly being played out when it shouldn't? Clearly it was festering. And I said this yesterday. I really believe it. I know we've been hard on Nick Sirianni. He's been fantastic the last 5 weeks because he trusts his defense. This is the biggest week of the season for him because in reality, this is not about coaching on Sunday. This is about holding the team accountable all week long, right? And this is where your leadership skills come in. You could be a player's coach. Guess who's a player's coach? Andy Reid. But at the same time, those players in the locker room don't want to disappoint him. I got in a discussion with somebody about Belichick back in the day, and a former Patriot guy was telling me, he's like, yo, if something like that happened with AJ, Belichick the next day showing that in the video in front of everybody and saying, hey, we may have our issues. Shut the hell up. We've got to keep this inside. And for me, considering what we saw last year when you're 10-1 and we knew there was stuff festering in the locker room while they were 10-1 and then it blew up on the field. You could be a player's coach, but Nick, in the end, you got to make sure the message is sent to everybody. Yo, we in-house, everything here. We keep it here no matter what, because that's the storyline this whole week heading into a Steelers game where the defense is going to sit there and say, where's AJ Brown? Because we know what you're going to do. We're going to sit on that. We're waiting for Jalen to make the mistake. So the question will be, how does Nick handle Sunday? And if it doesn't go their way, if they lose a close game, I don't think anything of it. But if they were to lose and there's finger pointing, what are you going to do the rest of the season? And it's not so much the final 4 games because I don't think it matters who they're playing in the final 4 games.
Agreed.
Records. It's what are you going to do in the postseason, right? How are you going to handle and hold this team together in December heading into January?
It's excellent points. I don't know if I'm being naive. I point to 2 things that are starkly different from last year, and it is the coordinators and is primarily the defense, right? Like the defense is really, really good.
Yeah.
The coordinators give you stability. And I got to believe that keeps things in check.
Without question. And I think the way Nick has approached the last month and a half is because of his confidence and faith in the defense.
Yeah.
Right? His decision-making is not like, hey, we've got to get this. It's, hey, our defense will hold. Let's punt. And let's get better field position. That has paid off. So I'm 100% with you. Like, the defense has changed everything. The concern I have for the defense is we saw a little bit without Reed Blankenship, right? If you don't have the safeties healthy, I am very concerned. Blankenship not there. CJ played beat up. You need to have those two guys there, at least helping the two rookies in Cooper and Q, right? That to me is the biggest goal over the next 5 weeks, making sure the safeties are taken care of, they're healthy for the long run, especially when you play a Vikings team, a Packers team, a Rams team. That will be critical on the defensive side. So I'm with you. That's a big difference from a year ago.
Yeah.
It's a big week for Nick, too, because we were talking about the specter of Belichick. So he breathes a little easier right now, I think, with Belichick signing somewhere else. I mean, he's got to feel good now. Just got to hold it together.
That's a fair point. I get it from the national guys here when they roll their eyes at me and they're like, come on. What's the deal with you guys and Nick? And I'm like, it's not us. I said, you just got to understand, like, the talent is Super Bowl talent. It's what are you going to do in the postseason, especially after you've gotten the taste of winning a Super Bowl and also losing a Super Bowl. What are you going to do in the postseason? Because the Super Bowl run is in the middle of losing the first round and losing in the first round. Right? And losing bad in those two first-round games against the Bucs in both of them, right? So what are you going to do here in this postseason? That's your measuring stick. Don't tell me about overall record. The measuring stick is what are you going to do in the postseason? So I come back to, like, Nick's got to have a run here. And this is not like a negative. We're not going down Negadelphia right now. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is specifically, how are you going to hold this team as a leader of this team, pulling them together and making sure we're all on the same page come playoff time.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame because BG didn't mean it, but like he exacerbated it Monday night when he was doing the Players Lounge on WIP. Like it was what it was. And I'm sure Nick's going, oh my God, dude, why? You know, his phone's blowing up. I'm sure it's everybody saying, shut up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And BG's like a family member for all of us. I think for every Eagles fan, they consider him family.
Yes.
And it was when that quote came out, I had to watch it 3 times, and I was like, what's going on? No, what are we doing? Why are we saying all this? He took it back and said, I just want to win. I just want to win. Problem is, you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube, right? So hey, winning's the best deodorant.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this. Just show that they have cohesiveness against the Steelers. Guess what, too, by the way? You can run on the Steelers.
Yeah.
So I hope they don't change their game plan, but I would imagine we're going to see some early throws, screen plays, and quick slants to AJ early on. And you know what? Jalen's got to throw them. Like, Jalen's got to be fully aware of, hey, I got to get everybody involved. I can't just sit and hold the football and wait. I just can't. He's got to do that.
Yeah, that's the thing, Kev. Like, they could have the same game plan as last week. If he just makes the right reads early, AJ has a big game. And you can still have Barkley getting fed and doing what he's doing. It's just the reads got to be better.
You're right. And listen, I don't know what's going on with Jalen to a certain extent. I think everybody sees it where it's like Jahan Dotson's your number 3, and they don't utilize anybody outside of, hey, where's AJ? Where's specifically Devontae if he's playing? And then, if Goddard's on the field, Calcaterra got some looks, but like they don't utilize anybody. That has been the history of the last 3 or 4 years of you've got to utilize everybody on the field and take advantage of what you're seeing with that third read or that fourth read.
I don't know that he does. I don't know that that's him though.
You're right.
You know, I mean, I think they need to
what
lean
are
in.
his reads? He doesn't make the quick. I mean, AJ's the first read on 2 touchdown passes, and he misses them.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a slump going on too, but and then I think he's afraid to throw picks. I think that's it. I would lean into a lot more play action for him because I think that again gives him a tick where I think he's a tick late in saying what he's saying, and play action will help that.
Yeah, you're 100% right. There's a lack of trust that's still going on. He's got to just spin it a little bit. And we say all this, but we also know that he has protected the football and they have won games.
Right.
He has protected the football and they've won games. Now, as we started the conversation at the beginning, it could backfire in the postseason when you're meeting a really good defensive coordinator and they shut down the running game. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Hey, I just real quick, and then I know we want to conserve your voice.
Thank
you. The playoff, I have to ask you. All right, they got to tweak this thing a little bit because I hate the seedings.
It's terrible, and I think I hope they do. Because you're 100% right. The seeding's got to be. You cannot give the conference champs. But remember, when they put this thing together, they had 5 conferences
right
existed, right? So when they formulated this thing, but I think you're going to see tweaks. I wouldn't be surprised, Ant, if you see not soon, but down the road, 14 teams, maybe even 16 teams. I would not be surprised.
Just do it. Like in the past, where they're always slow and all these goofy changes, and everybody wanted this playoff. This thing's 50 years in the making, right? So you finally get here. Just go 16. There are no buys, and let's go, man. And don't overvalue the conference championship game.
And first and second rounds get home field. Yeah. Like the second round should have home field.
Yes.
Like think about it. Like you're Oregon and you got the 1 seed and now you got to go to a neutral site. You get a bye, but I just don't think that's. I think they should get the chance to host that second round. That would be pretty incredible.
Just do it the NFL. The NFL, that's perfect to do it. You want to do the Final Four there, fine, but the NFL is the perfect thing. Who's your pick? It's so wide open, Kev.
You could make a case for 5 teams, 6 teams. Penn State's got the best seeding in this whole thing.
Yeah.
I could see if Ohio State gets out of their way. This is crazy. If Ohio State gets through the first quarter against Tennessee and actually has the lead, because let me tell you, if they go down 7-0 in the first quarter in that environment, it will not be fun for Buckeye fans and Ryan Day the rest of the way. But if they can get through that game, Ohio State still has the talent. The quarterback's a little not trustworthy in very, very big moments. But I think that they could get through this thing. I like Oregon a lot. But Georgia is a different story. You know, here's a team that I think that could make a run if the head coach decides, all right, I've got to switch it up. I think Texas, because I think Arch Manning should play a little bit more.
This doesn't have it, man. And by the way, the kids hit the portal and go play another year. He's not ready. He's not close to being ready. He's a problem for them. And I agree. I was about to ask you, because it was me, I go Arch all the way.
I couldn't believe that they didn't give Arch more time in the second half of that game. But when you were watching that game, what was happening in the third and fourth quarter is, okay, Georgia started feeling themselves. Stockton now got that offense moving. And then I talked to Boog. We're watching the game. I said, watch, Georgia's going to bring it because they know Quinn can't move.
Yeah.
And they did multiple times. And I'm like, well, why have they not gone to Arch? They need a mobile quarterback right now. And Boog has said on record multiple times, the biggest weapon in the sport right now is a mobile quarterback. It just without question. And Arch can do it all. So I'm surprised that Arch didn't see more time. And I think if Arch were to play, that Texas could win it all.
Yeah, I'm with you. My brother, rest up, buddy. All right?
Thank
we
you,
love
guys.
you.
Oh, yo, Kev, your suit last night was ridiculous. You look sharp as hell last night.
VG, thank you, man. That was a long day. I got another long day, and then I'm hosting the Heisman brunch on Sunday, so I got to make sure I got the pipes ready. We got Dylan Gabriel on the show today on Sports Center. There's a lot of stuff going on. Fun. It's a crazy week, but appreciate you, VG. You know I like to bring it with the suits, especially when I'm hanging out.
Sharp, man.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Next week we go longer with a big college preview, so we love you, buddy. Break a leg. There he is, our man, Kevin Negandhi, every week. All right. Well, by the way, we'd like to thank you guys for watching on Roku and Samsung and the Xfinity One platform. We love you guys. Thank you. And don't forget to become a diehard. All right. We get all that stuff. Franny films his breakdown, all of our inside journalism, which we're proud of, you can get as a diehard. All right. In addition to all this other great content. How about this, my man? We got the champs. Where's Danny D? We got to get Danny D in here to celebrate because we do have a champion, and that's it. St. Joe's Prep. You want to talk about dominance, all right? Rolling to the state champion. Look at this.
What's going on, cuz?
The AD, our man. Danny D. Look at that.
Check it out.
That is awesome, man.
Man, we had to bring it home.
Isn't that cool? I love that, dude. That's fantastic,
And
man.
we didn't
Yo,
forget
congratulations, brother.
They give us 45 medals, and that's obviously not enough for the team. So we give them out to people who support the team through the year. So this is for the studio.
Nice. Look at this.
Guys.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so
look at that. This is great.
Appreciate all the support.
This
from you
goes
guys.
right into our studio. We're going to display this proudly.
Let's go.
We are. Tell us about the game, man. Tell us about it. Was it even a game? I know, right? I mean, seriously.
It was a good game. It was a really cool venue. They did a great job. PHLY did a great job setting it up. And, we played Pittsburgh Central Catholic. But we jumped them from the start, man. First play of the game, 80-yard touchdown. But they kicked it off, touchback, and then we kind of took their spirits. But they battled. They have a kid going to Penn State, kid going to Duke. So they have some guys. They have a freshman who's electric. Every time we punted to him, it was a little scary or kick to him. But they got a really tough team, and they fought. But
35-6.
35-6. Yeah, oof. It was we represented for the city.
Well, listen, we had. The Prep versus Pittsburgh Catholic, and now Eagles Steelers.
Yep.
All right.
So
you held up.
Yeah, and then Tomlin's talking about the state championship a little bit, saying they're going to hold it down for Pittsburgh, this area, but hopefully Eagles come out on top. We just dropped off a hoodie to the Eagles for Sirianni.
Oh, nice. Great.
Yeah, we had to give him some gear to represent for Philadelphia. So.
Oh, I love that, man. It's fantastic. That 35-6. You know what the most amazing thing of this whole thing is, VG? Is that you look at where St. Joe's Prep is, the kids on this team. So the quarterback, Charlie Folks.
Great kid.
Is a sophomore.
That's wild.
He's a sophomore.
Yeah.
I mean.
He came a long way. It's tough, coming in as a sophomore to a program that's, playing national schedule.
Yeah.
And he figured it out. He battled, tough kid, did whatever he had to do to win. I mean, the championship, again, his best games weren't the biggest statistical games. He just did a lot of winning plays, and he grew, and he really matured over the years. So we're really proud of him. And the guys who don't get enough love is the trenches. We won this game in the trenches. We ran for over 250 yards. Our offensive line, Khalil Stewart, Christian Leonard, these guys battling. Our defensive line dominated. You got Alex Haskell, who's, looking at Big Ten schools, Penn State, Michigan. But then a lot of younger guys who go unnoticed, like this kid Jason Nitz, monster game. Sean Stratz in the middle, monster game. Colton Anderson. So these kids don't always get the love. They're not the sexy positions. But the trenches, we won the game on the trenches. So I'm really proud of those guys. They performed, and it was an awesome night.
Well, what's amazing about it is how young, and I bring up Charlie for a reason, because of how young you guys are. I mean, you want to talk about an all-world receiver. One Jet Harrison, right? Who's a freshman.
11 touchdowns this season.
I mean, he's a freshman, dude.
Is he 15?
Right? How sick is that?
He had a great day. Yeah, we had a good mix of young and old. We obviously have 27 seniors this year, and that's kind of been the norm the last 4 or 5. We had 7 signed Division I. We'll probably have another 3 more, and then probably another 10 that will go on to play a lower level college football.
Yeah.
But great leadership, but then a balance. We started a lot of sophomores. We started freshmen, so we had a good balance of young and old. And again, started the season a little slow, but we caught our groove, and we really finished strong.
In comparison, the team you beat, how many D1s do you think they'll have?
I think they probably have 5 Division I, 5 or 6 Division I guys. So we had 7 in the class. I mean, on our team, probably total, if you count this.
If you project,
there's probably, we probably had 20,
Wow. Oh my God.
And along again, they got to keep getting better.
It's
but
like almost half the team.
The trajectory.
The trajectory, to get there.
So going forward, let's just look ahead for a second.
Yeah.
So going forward, what are you bringing back?
Yeah, so we're bringing back a quarterback. We're bringing back a few offensive linemen. We're bringing back a majority of the defensive line. All our DBs are sophomores or juniors.
Wow.
A linebacker.
Talk about scary.
One of the linebackers come back with the 3 that started, but we have young guys that are ready to fill in. We lose our kicker, who was great. He was phenomenal. He'll probably go on to walk on at a Division I program. He's great. Kid Leo Ritchie.
Is it hard finding them? It feels like we have a good soccer city. Is it hard finding good kickers?
Yeah, the problem with kicking, and I didn't really learn about this until I got to the prep. You think, you're on a Division I team, you're on BAM. There's only 1 kicking scholarship on these teams, and they have 5 kids. So you have to go basically walk on and earn that scholarship until you're the starter. So it's a bit of a grind, and to figure out your niche and to navigate that's a little tough. And then mostly the kickers are soccer players. So at a program like us, where we're doing different special team stuff, it's tough to split time. So you kind of have to pick at some point if you want to be on that high Division I trajectory. But we've been very blessed over the last. Since I've been there, this kid Antonio Chada is Division I kicker. We have a kid, Skylar Holder, who's at Delaware right now, another Division I kicker. So we've had 3 Division I kickers in my 5 years at the prep.
What you know what I love, because so Anthony's at St. Augustine prep, right? So we just got the letter home that says, "Hey, look, training begins in January."
Yeah, start lifting. Yeah.
Right, which I love, right? To me, it's hey, the season begins now. Yeah. We just got done this. There's no resting on any laurels. Let's go. So you guys, tell us about, because I'm fascinated by that whole thing.
Yeah, we'll get back in the weight room, and we invested a lot of resources in our weight room 2 years ago. So we have a huge weight room now that can fit multiple teams. We used to have a shack. 25 kids could be in there at once. Now we have a weight room with 25 racks that we can get 120 kids in there at once. So we can split teams up. So we're very blessed and fortunate now to have that type of facility where we can get multiple teams in the off season. So football, it's optional, but we give them the option to get to work when they want to start, or if they're doing another sport. We have a ton of kids that are wrestling now, football players, which has been huge for them. The kid going to Ohio State, our defensive tackle, is about to break the all-time wrestling wins record at the prep. So he's elite.
Wow.
He's a state qualifier for PIAA. He medaled last year. So wrestling is huge for the interior linemen.
Yeah.
It's great, the handwork. So we'll have 4 or 5 football players go wrestle this year.
So if they're not doing another sport, is it when does it become mandatory?
It's not really mandatory till the season. But if at a competitive program, if you're not working, someone's going to step in front of you, right? So it's it's not mandatory, but if you want it, just giving them the option to continue to work. And with the culture we have, these kids, stick it out.
Well, this is what's amazing, VG. I think back to the ancient times when we were there, right?
Ancient.
Well, it's because it's changed so much. You've seen it. You've been at the prep for 5 years.
Yeah, I was at Roman for 6 and then prep for 5.
So you've seen it recently. The mentality. I love the mentality of the young athlete, because the young athlete now treats this thing this isn't just. I'm going to go, we treated it like we love football. We play football. We love baseball. We played, basketball. And then we were football, basketball, baseball. And it was just fun, and you went out and played. But they treat it so much more serious now.
Oh, yeah. It's evolving. We talked about this on Your Kids, about all the trainers and all these specialists. So there's a lot more options and a lot more, chance to continue to practice in the off season. If it wasn't football season, there wasn't really a lot of football work going on even when I was growing up, right?
Right.
It was like, this is your season, so you had to kind of do it on your own. Now there's so many specialists, so much training, and the schools are offering, hey, you want to get in the weight room? We'll have.
How state of the art is this? Do you guys have like cold tubs, hot tubs?
Yeah,
like
we have recovery. We have cold tubs. We have some, some like different type of massaging guns and then legs to put on. And we have a great trainer. This guy Anthony Rodriguez is elite. So he does a lot of the recovery work, and we've really invested in, at the prep we're mind, body, spirit. So body's important, right? So being fit, recovering your body, so all that stuff, even regardless of sport, we encourage. So we've invested a lot in that for anyone, the non-athlete, for the person, because we believe, to be the best person, you have to be healthy, you have to be, with everything. And
I love that too, that mind, body, spirit thing.
Yeah, it's all together, man. It's all one.
It is all one. Oh, and that's the beauty of that of educating that way for all students, not just football players.
Yeah, we opened up. We have like a weightlifting club, during our community period where kids can lift. But any student can come in and get treatment from our athletic trainer.
Really?
Yeah. It's not like you don't just have to be an athlete.
Wow.
Right? If you want to get treatment or you're injured, he's available. His door is always open. So that's really cool. And then a really cool story from this weekend was, the guys that come back. So on our sideline, we had, Josiah Trotter, right? Jeremiah's youngest son. Just on Tuesday, he's named Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year, right?
Big deal, West Virginia.
Big deal. He's at West Virginia. That's a huge thing. I mean, you're already a Division I football player. It's probably great to be on campus, right? And you just won this huge award.
Yeah.
He drove 4 hours to the game.
Wow.
To be there. And I was like, what are you home? Are you done? He's like, no, I got finals, Monday. But this is what we do. Like, this is what the guys have done before me. So I'm just, I'm here to cheer them on and be here and be present. So, like, that culture is, I think it's unmatched. And for a kid to do that, I mean, he's 19 years old, just won this huge award, probably the man on campus.
Right.
Yeah.
Giving up a Saturday night to drive 8 hours to go support his high school program. So it's a credit to Jeremiah, but also a credit to the program and the school for instilling that culture in these young guys.
Yeah.
So I was blown away by it. I mean,
I love it.
Didn't even blink.
I love that. I love that story. It's such a beautiful story.
Yeah,
man.
him and his kid Brandon Raymond at West Virginia. Samaj, our quarterback last year, came up from Cincinnati.
Wow.
And these guys, I thought they were done for the year. I'm like, oh, you're home for a break. They're like, no, we're going right back.
Yeah.
So to be there to support our young men, and that's a credit to the program. Like Marv Jr. has come back to games this year. So like guys in the NFL are still coming back on the bye weeks to support.
But how cool is that? Like if you're playing and all of a sudden you got Marv Jr. on the sideline, like cheering you on, like that's an awesome thing. Tell him what Stefanski did.
Yeah, I mean, when we played out in Cleveland this year, and so we reached out to say, hey, can we get a walkthrough in the facility? Just we're looking for a field. Came into dinner, spoke to our boys 2 different times, came to the practice, came to the game.
Wow.
NFL coach.
NFL coach was around giving knowledge, trying to just give back to a school that he cares so much about. But to give his time, I mean, he's busy, right? I mean, it was right before week 1. So it is a busy time. And, and imagine going to a high school game as the head coach of the Browns.
Right.
Everyone wants to talk to you, right?
Yeah.
And he's there, great guy, talking to everybody. But to him to come back and for him to give us that knowledge over the time when we were in Cleveland earlier this year, it's our kids remember that for the rest of their lives, So it was a really special trip, and he's a great man, and we always root for him, even though secondary to the Eagles. But
so what's it like after you win? You guys stay up there and have a celebration dinner? Is a bus ride home crazy?
So we kind of let the parents take the kids, and then they figure it out.
Everyone splits off.
They kind of stick together, but we don't make it mandatory or anything. Like we go off Friday night, we do stuff together as a team. We stay in the whole day Saturday together. And then we say, hey, celebrate with your teammates and your family, but we're not going to have anything planned for you guys. You
just got a lonely bus driver driving home by himself?
No, but everyone stays.
Their
parents take them home. So it's our bus driver is done with us after he drops us off.
He drops you off and bounces.
And all the parents
take
them
overnight.
Back.
They take us there, then they drive us around Saturday to the walkthroughs and stuff, and then at the game.
Okay.
Then the parents will take them home.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but parents are great. They do such a good job organizing stuff after the game for the kids and meals. And,
yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Like, I love the ride home. Like, to me, the ride home as a parent of a game, I love it, even win or lose, because it's obviously it's more fun when you win.
Your surface pad out, breaking plays down on the ride home.
But no, but even like just I try not to go crazy with it. After the game, and because they don't want to talk about the game,
Right.
like unless they do well.
Yeah.
You know.
No, but it's cool, and it's a really cool experience for everyone to be up there. And our kids showed out. I mean, it was 30 degrees. We still had a student section. You know, kids still drove up. So
Nice.
That's awesome.
It was a really cool environment. But now we're moving on.
Hoops.
Right? So, Hoops now.
How are you? What's going
We're
on
gonna
with
be
the
really
guys?
good. So we play our second game tonight. We're in Isaiah Thomas, the city councilman. He runs the showcase. So we're playing Thurgood Marshall from New York.
Okay, good.
So we'll play them up here tonight. Isaiah does a great job. He gives back to the community, and he has a little showcase tonight. So we're going to be a part of that. And then we're going to Vegas for the Tarkanian Classic.
Wow,
man.
Look at that.
That's next
Jerry
week.
Tarkanian. You're going to Vegas next week.
Vegas, yeah, we're playing. If we win our
Will
first
you
game,
go?
I won't go this trip.
Yeah.
I usually try to make it, but it's just a lot going on back here. So we'll go out there. If we win our first game, we play the #1 junior in the country's team.
Really?
So
where are they from?
They're
What's
from
his name?
out in Nevada. So loaded squad. So the tournament is elite. So it will be a lot of fun. And two of our broadcast kids are going out there, so they'll YouTube the games for us.
Oh wow, that's great.
I
man.
love that, man.
Yeah, they traveled with the team, so they just put a little stat out. We had like 300,000 views of their games, like impressions from just the football season. So
Right.
they do such a good job.
That's
man. The club
fantastic.
is, you know,
Yeah.
they
Well,
look-
we're gonna
they
bring
love
him
it.
in here. We're gonna make him come in here. And get
Yeah,
some,
and then we'll get
some
through the winter,
experience.
and I was telling Ant the other day. Then in the spring, our rugby team, we're going to Italy. We're going on an Italian tour.
Isn't that
man.
cool?
Yeah,
PG. So
man.
they're going to go to North Italy. They're going to be in Verona,
This is wild.
and they're going to hit Padova up and Lake Garda, and they're going to play some matches, an international match. So
This is not the Catholic League I knew back in the day. We'd be happy if we went to Lancaster.
yeah, we're growing it, man. We're growing.
I love it.
Mountain biking starting up in the spring. They're already getting revved up. So
How cool is that? Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Mountain biking. I love
where you
it.
practice, like
Yeah.
Northville, they're going around Gerard Avenue.
This is what we do. We rent 2 storage units right in Manayunk by the trail.
Oh, so you
then
do the hills?
We drive there and then they hit the hills, man. They go through. There's a couple trails there through the park,
Nice.
and right off Main Street, Manayunk. So
Yeah.
then we put them back in the storage unit. And we
Wow.
That's cool,
Yeah,
man.
that's fascinating.
I
It
love
took us a while to figure it out because we were just transporting the bikes every day, and it was such a hassle.
Yeah.
So you have rowing, right? Like
Our
so-
crew team is a top 5 team in the country every year.
Yeah.
Last year we finished second in nationals, elite program. We've won nationals in my time. We've gone to Henley twice, which is the biggest race in the world, over in London. So our crew team is top notch. We're sending kids to Harvard and Cal and Ivy's galore for crew. These kids are special, and it's so hard, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's.
Who was our guy for the Olympian we had on?
Oh, yeah. Justin Best. I
Yeah,
think.
Justin, and he shows his hands.
It's
and the calluses upon calluses on top of calluses.
I had no clue until I got to the prep the dedication. These
Ton of
kids-
running.
Yeah.
Ton of lifting.
10
Yeah.
miles, like it's crazy
Yeah.
the shape these kids are in,
Yeah.
and you don't.
Their lung capacity is unreal.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So we've had a gold medalist, a bronze medalist from the prep. We've had an Olympian. So yeah, I mean, crew is one of our top tier. Crew, rugby, football are the largest teams. We have like 110 kids on rugby. Through our whole football program through freshman year, we got about 130 kids, 140 kids, and then.
Are there any kids who aren't
Crew's about
athletes at the
100.
school?
So we have about 720 kids do athletes of the 950. So
Wow,
we're
really?
about 70% are
Oh,
involved.
man.
And we
Well,
push
it's
that.
part of it. Yeah, like
We
it's part
push
of the
it.
whole thing. Like you want, you want the kids to be involved in something.
And that's why we offer
And that-
so many.
yeah,
programs.
that's why you do
we
mountain
mountain biking,
biking.
and they grow because we push kids to get out of their comfort zone and try new things. So we have 20 varsity sports. We have squash, just things that people don't think about. We have 3 hockey teams, 3 different levels of hockey. So
3 different levels of hockey.
we're pushing it out there, man. And we're just trying to get the kids involved and really
I love
keep it
Yeah,
going.
man.
So it's been
good
special.
stuff.
Man,
Congratulations,
my
man.
Yeah, I appreciate you
Champs.
guys. The medal. And
Champ is here.
There it is.
Champ is here.
6A football champion on the back, baby.
Let's go. And before I run, I have a buddy, huge fan, firefighter, Bobby Finn, loves the program. His birthday's tomorrow, so I just want to wish him happy birthday,
Bobby.
Bobby.
Happy
Great guy,
birthday, brother.
Serving the community.
Where's he
saving-
at? Do you know?
He's in, I think
My dad's a retired firefighter.
I think he just switched. He's in North Philly right now. He just switched, but he used to be up off the boulevard.
All right.
But great guys. They have a great house. Lieutenant Tony, BJ, the squad is awesome over there. So Happy birthday, Bobo.
There you go, Bobo.
Yeah, have a great day.
Fantastic.
You're the best.
We love you, buddy.
Love you too,
Thanks,
man.
Danny
man,
D.
I love it when you heard.
There he is. Danny D, the prep champion slot. Look at that. All right. It's a Friday, and we always love it because our man always makes you feel good. Our buddy, TV Todd.
Act like a man. You can't handle the truth.
It's time for TV Todd.
There he is. Let's welcome to the program our buddy, TV Todd. Good morning, my brother.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, we're good. We just got our Eagles Steelers all football Friday, and Danny D and the whole crew, Garafolo and the Negandhis. So we're a lot of fun as always.
Now we got our headliner.
Hey, VG, I think I committed a major violation. I need to run it by you.
Uh-oh.
It's regarding the Flyers last night.
What happened?
So no, it's actually a funny story, but I was driving back from a work thing, and I was talking to my buddy, who I also represent. He's the Detroit Red Wings goalie coach. And we were talking about Mitchkov, because I said, dude, get Talbot ready, man. Mitchkov's going to light you up tonight. I was ribbing him a little bit. And I said to him, you really got to get him ready for the Michigan, because I think he's going to try it tonight.
Oh, wow.
So
he did.
Yeah.
He did, and Talbot was kind of ready for it. It was my buddy wrote me back. He said, great scouting report, and had the Flyers. I know.
Violation.
Yeah, well, that was like you know what it was? It was like a sin, like BG. It was like a BG
We
thing,
need a boo.
right? Like he didn't mean to do it. It was more like, and all of a sudden, I love how you're like, oh man, I can't believe I shouldn't have said that.
I did. I immediately when I watched it, and at the time in the game, I didn't know the game wasn't iced at that point. I was like, oh man, they better win this thing.
Oh my God. You're probably like, oh my God, no. Oh, it's fantastic. That's a great story, dude.
I mean, if he's going to do it,
funny.
a team from Michigan would be a great one to do it against.
Oh my God.
That's what I was thinking, and boy, he almost scored on that one, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
He almost scored.
He's going to get one eventually.
He is going to get one. He is.
That's like
They're good, dude. They're fun, and they're good. They're just playing really good hockey, man.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. I mean, there's only a few games this season where you're like, I could turn off the third period.
Right.
Most of the time, they're in it. I'm really enjoying it.
All right, so this weekend, what are we watching?
Well, we're finally starting to get some new content pushed out there. We've gone through a few doldrum weeks, but we've talked a lot about holiday stuff, so I'll pepper that in a little bit more here. We have a bunch of new shows out. We have a lot of cool stuff streaming and in the theaters. The holiday stuff is interesting because celebrities have figured out that if they could do a holiday movie, specifically a Christmas movie, they could be getting checks their entire life, even when they're done acting. I mean, Elf, Christmas Vacation. I mean, these are things that are going to, Home Alone. These are movies that are going to stream forever and ever and ever. So they're all trying to get into the game. So right now, over the last week or two, we have two new, pretty big holiday movies with celebrities in them. So we have Nutcrackers, which is with Ben Stiller. He's the star of it, and it's one of those like guy doesn't love Christmas, has to take care of his orphan nephews, that kind of movie. But it's designed to have a lot of staying power, right? So that one's out. Ben Stiller and Nutcrackers, that streams.
Is he funny? Is it good? Like, is it entertaining?
I haven't watched it. I'm watching both of the movies I'm going to tell you about. I'm watching tonight. We're going to do a double feature tonight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I can't remember. I think Nutcrackers may be on Hulu or Netflix. I can't remember. But the other one is Dear Santa, and that's on Paramount Plus, and that stars Jack Black.
Okay.
And what that one is, the gist of that one is, and it looks really funny. the gist of that one is there's some kid writing a letter to Santa, and by mistake he spells it Satan. He misspells it, and Jack Black is kind of like the evil Santa that shows up.
That's good. Like I have to go for a laugh. That's a good idea doing the double feature. I'm gonna maybe do the double feature with the boys tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's good. But you see, it's like Jack Black, Ben Stiller, they're trying to get their big Christmas movie. And I totally understand it.
Yeah, no, because those other ones, forget about it. I mean, Elf has become such a mainstay, and he's got a new one now.
If you get a hit as a singer or a movie, an actor,
it becomes part of the tradition.
Artie Lang used to be on Howard Stern. He would say, just from Elf, like he would get a whole year's salary just because it plays so much during the holidays.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, and VG, you're so right. That's why like Jimmy Fallon's doing a Christmas record. Why would Jimmy Fallon do a Christmas record? He's trying to get that one Christmas hit that keeps coming up year after year.
Yep.
Wow, that's wild. I saw. Speaking of Elf, I saw he's got a new movie out. I saw the trailer.
Who does?
What's his name?
Will Ferrell?
Will Ferrell. Yeah, Will Ferrell.
He's got a new
What's
film.
The film?
What? Look it up real quick.
Look it up.
I just saw the trailer last night on the football game.
Let's just say, like 2 years ago, Mariah Carey's song brought her $5.3 million.
$5.3 million
in 2022.
Oh my God!
That's every year since she's put that out.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah.
Is it called Will and Harper? No, that's something else.
No, that's a new one that's coming out. Whatever.
Oh, it's called No Good Deed. It's a series. It's a TV series that's coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, Anthony, what you're talking about is a Netflix series. Just came out yesterday, I believe. And what
December
it
12th,
is it's got there's a couple other stars in it. What's her name from Friends is in it. There's a couple, but what its stories is, it's about a bunch of
Lisa
these families
Kudrow.
that are kind of Lisa Kudrow. That's right. And it's about I think it's about Ray Romano.
Luke Wilson.
It's about a bunch of families who are like competing to bid or win some house, like to bid on a house that's going up on the market or something like that. Yeah, it's supposed to be funny.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I'm kind of out on the Kudrow and who else you say?
Luke Wilson.
No, I'm okay with
Ray
that.
Romano.
Yeah, Ray Romano. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't love Ray?
Nah, not a fan.
Everybody does though.
Nice
You
one,
Kudrow, Roy, but that get you excited for a series?
Kudrow? No. I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter. How's the agency? Is that good? I keep seeing trailers for that. Richard Gere.
I have a buddy who is so into that show, but he is one of these guys who watches all of those, Paramount Plus CBS like shows, Lioness and Agency, and he loves it. But he loves the Agency. He says it's amazing.
Really?
I saw the first episode. It's not hooking enough. I love Michael Fassbender. I think he's a phenomenal actor, and I was like totally into it because of him. But I watched it's like the first 10 minutes. It's like you need something to grab you, and it just I didn't have that with it.
I got this. I watched this show that I wasn't going to watch, and I started the first episode, and I watched the whole thing like in 2 days. It's a comedy, but it's it's kind of like a darkish comedy. It seemed to me very Fargo-like. It's a series called The Sticky, and it's on Prime. And it's the story. It's a Canadian show, and it's the story. The series is about these three people who decide to pull off a heist and rob a bunch of maple syrup that the Canadian government stores away for times where there may be droughts and they can't get syrup from the trees. It's actually really good.
Reserve of maple syrup.
Oh my God!
Yes, and they figure out how to steal it, and it's really, I really loved it. It's like a 6-episode Canadian series that's doing great on Prime. I think they're going to pick it up for a season 2, but it's a fun series. The Sticky.
Wow, look at that!
All right,
that's interesting. The Sticky. That's good. That's good.
Did you see
I like that.
Did you see Nora last weekend?
I did.
How was it?
And So my buddy Oliver and I went, and we went to the Charles. You ever been to the Charles at Fells Point, VG?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or it's in Baltimore rather. The Charles, great independent theater. We went in there. It was the two of us, and it was like 5 other people in the theater, including like 3 older women. And the movie starts, and 15 minutes into the film, one of them picks up and just takes her popcorn and leaves. Just leaves.
Man.
Oh my
So
God.
the reason I'm telling you that is it is not for everybody. It's a Cinderella story loosely, but it's got a lot. It's edgy. She's a sex worker. It's edgy, but it's got a lot of comedy in it. VG, that's very reminiscent to me of like the early indie films, like Day Trippers and films like that. There's like a middle part of it that is hilarious, where the Russian oligarchs are coming to try to get them to annul their marriage. I thought it was really, really, really good. But I did want to tell your audience that some people can't handle the edge part of it.
All right. I like Edge. Hey, what are you hearing about Kraven the Hunter?
Oh,
because the critics are slamming it. Can this be kind of the end of this run on these big budget comic book movies?
I don't think it's going to be the end of it, because I still think that film is going to do pretty well at the box office, even though the critics don't like it. I didn't see it, but I saw the trailer for it the other night when I was at the theater, and I was like, all right, I don't need to see this.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, I'm just exhausted from all that stuff. I don't. There's nothing in there that really excites me anymore. And that's why I tried to watch that show, The Sticky. I just want something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a difference between Kraven and like all the other Marvel stuff. That's Sony's interpretation of Marvel. So Sony still has the rights to all the Spider-Man villains.
Yeah, okay.
So they're trying to dump as many Spider-Man villain movies as possible. Venom, Kraven, all of that stuff. But like the Marvel superhero stuff, that's going to go on forever. Forever.
To me, it's all the same.
Yeah, they have roadmaps into like 2030 with like 5 more Avenger movies and all of that stuff. It's out of hand.
Now, I will say this, Todd. I am thinking about Flow. Have you seen the trailer at all for this? The animated film about the cat. The reviews have been crazy good. It looks beautiful.
I know. It's playing at all the indie art houses too. Everyone really likes it.
There's like a cat's house gets like devastated, or he gets separated from his home, and like he teams up with like other animals to help him find.
Is it a kids movie?
Yeah, I don't think so. Let me see. Well, PG. Yeah.
I think it's like in the vein of Marcel the Shell. You know, like it's kids and adults that kind of watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right. That's playing all over the place. I mean, this is a week where we have a lot of really diverse content out there, you know, so we talked about a few things already, but also, you know, Bookie, the show Bookie is back for season 2. People really did like that. I thought it was okay, like from a series standpoint, but I get why people like it. Very bingeable, short episodes. You know, it's about a bookie trying to like, you know, deal with the legalization of gambling that's about to come. And you know, it's okay. It's okay. Dexter Original Sin starts this weekend, which is the prequel to Dexter, which obviously Dexter is one of the best series I think has ever been made. I don't know how the prequel is going to be, but people are kind of excited about that. And we got a bunch of documentaries coming out. The Christopher Reeve documentary, people love that. Of course, they love him. So they love the documentary about Christopher Reeve. There's a great documentary on Disney about the specific time the Beatles came to the U.S. in 1964 and did the Ed Sullivan Show. And then VG, our movie Kneecap, is now streaming.
I saw that.
So, yeah.
Highly recommend watching that film. That was one of my favorite films of this year.
Me too. Movie of the year, Kneecap, and then the much maligned Joker 2 is streaming as well.
I get smashed. Yeah.
I'm going back in time tonight, I think. I'm probable to see Rocky Horror tonight at the Ritz.
Dude, you're like me, right? We had so much fun back in the day at that film. I love it. I love the music. I love everything about it.
Yeah. It's the only work of Meatloaf's I approve of.
Is the Rich showing it? Are they going to do a midnight show?
No, not these days in the city post-pandemic. 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, really?
10
No
o'clock.
midnight, yeah. That's great.
That's cool. That's cool. Tim Curry's best role, hands down.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Well, my brother, great stuff as always. What are you on tap for this weekend?
I'm gonna be local this weekend. I'm just gonna be I'm obviously gonna be locked in for the Birds, so it's gonna be a little bit of sports and like I said, double feature tonight.
I love it. Friday, you'll be live with us at the Reading Terminal Market. We can't wait to see you, buddy. Oh, he froze. Todd.
Oh,
Todd froze.
Frozen Todd.
We love him. All right, TV Todd. Listen, that's going to do it for us.
We got to go back, right?
Oh, we're back in the day.
And also,
Thank
can I
you.
say Jim Bowden's reporting that the Phillies offered Castellanos and Bohm for Kyle Tucker. Can they just throw in Garrett Stubbs too?
Wait, they offered
Castellanos and Bohm.
I saw that.
Kyle Tucker. Come on.
I mean,
I know you start off with not your best offer, but come on.
Ruben had a trade proposal, and it was Bohm, Castellanos, a couple of prospects for Tucker and Presley.
I can't see them taking.
No, I mean, listen, I would love. There's a couple of things. Why are they? I don't understand why they want to trade him. I just don't get it. Kyle Tucker's a stud. He's
Makes
a stud.
no sense.
All right, time now for our Rite Aid back in the day moment. Let's go back.
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with Rite Aid. Yeah!
Well, there's only one way to go this weekend.
Eagles, Steelers?
Steagles, baby.
The Steagles,
We got some, is it like a little minute-long clip? We got some footage of it. Look at them working out. They look like Rocky sweats.
Team the press playfully dubbed the Steagles.
The Steagles combined the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles. That's where the name Steagles came from. And in my opinion, when you put the two teams together, you had twice as many lousy football players on that Steagles team.
We had to practice in the evenings. We had a number of men who had wartime jobs. And as a result, we would practice with just one set of lights up at the old Shibe Park. Sometimes when you miss throwing the ball right, you blamed it on the lights.
Though they would last just 1 year, the Steagles finished with a 5-4-1 record. It was the Eagles' first ever winning season, and certainly one of the most bizarre chapters in team history.
Remember, we at home have to help win this war.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. The Steagles, the story of the Steagles. That's fantastic. All right. We got, we good?
We're good, yeah.
All right. Want to thank Frazier. Great job.
Man.
Joey. Great job. My brother,
nice
predictions. What do you got?
Ooh. It's going to be close. It's going to be a close game. I'm going to go 28-23 Eagles.
28-23 Eagles. Joey, you had it close last week. What do you got this week?
Yeah, I don't want to say it, but I think this is going to break the winning streak.
You got the Steelers?
I don't want to say
All right, I got you.
you
No, you got to
saying
keep it real, though. I feel you. All right, VG, what do you got?
I like Birds 2010.
2010, I like that. I like the Eagles 23-17.
Yeah.
You know, something like that.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to you, man. You got an abscessed tooth. That is not an easy thing to deal with. And you've been a true professional the last 2 days, man.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
It's a horrible thing.
Yeah. Everybody, have a great weekend. We love you, right? Go Birds.
Go Birds.
We all silly like the mayor.